up to rock, get up to bed, stand up with pride that burns for your desire. One day I noticed that my life was broken. It was not me who was controlling this body. Oh, I want to know what's really real to me before we vanish like a wave. Get up to rock, get up to burn, stand up with pride. I'll be the waste maker. You must have had it. Press the truth, hold it high, raise your fists. That's why it's made to start with. You haven't had it. Go. Don't be afraid to listen to your own heart. Big blast sonic, that's my heartbeat in you.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm back, and boy, oh boy, we got to talk. There is a lot going that's been happening. We got the Path of Exile 2 Dawn of the Hunt patch notes to go over first. That's the first thing I want to go into, which is going to probably be a mix of good and bad stuff. And the switch to drama, outrage, just the controversy. We got to go into that, and I want to give my full thoughts when it comes to the system, pricing for the system, and the games, and what Nintendo's doing. And yeah. So strap yourselves in for this. We will be doing some more Khazan as well after I get done talking, but I at least want to get this done first. Check out these patch notes for PoE 2. I'm excited for the new big content update that's happening tomorrow. And as a heads up, I will be doing a giveaway. Giving away 2 game keys for Path of Exile 2, PC version though, tomorrow when I stream in the evening, starting between 8 and 9 p.m. depending on when I get off work. And basically just make sure you are following the channel. Also join the Discord so you can stay updated on giveaways in the future, and it's easier to communicate that way anyway. Plus I'm trying to build a community up. So stay tuned for more details tomorrow when it comes to that. All right. Make sure you stop on by for those details. There's actually pretty much mostly full details in the Discord right now. If you want to join Discord and haven't already and want to check that out, because I do have a giveaway channel in the Discord. I want to do future giveaways. So just keep that in mind. We got some stuff to go over though. Boy, oh boy. So Grinding Gear Games has finally dropped the full patch notes for Dawn of the Hunt. By the time this video goes up, the patch might already be out or is about to be out, depending on when this goes up. But I wanted to go over my thoughts, my reaction to these patch notes. All right, so we got a lot in here, like Dawn Hunt League. We got content and features, in-game changes, Atlas passive tree changes, general improvements, player changes, ascendancy changes, passive skill tree changes, skill changes, support changes, unique item changes, monster changes, quest changes, user interface changes, microtransaction changes, bug fixes. Yeah, it is a lot. So let's see here. Now, I think the initial stuff here we already knew about. We added a new playable character class, Huntress, and Amazon, Ritualist Ascendancy classes. So a lot of stuff we already knew about, basically, right? What I want to go into is going to be the, is it not the leagues first? Huh. That was going to be leagues. Hold up. Weird. Oh, no, here we go. Sorry, guys. League. So starting fresh in a new economy with the Dawn of the Hunt League. All your old characters from the early access launch are still present, but a free passive tree refund has been granted due to the changes. Thank you. We would highly encourage you to join the new leagues to fully take in the changes we made with 02.20. There are standard, hardcore, and solo self-found variations of Dawn of the Hunt League available. They have the same core mechanics and items as existing early access leagues. Good. But yeah, this stuff we already knew about. 100 unique items, 100 new support gems, over 25 new skills, primary spear skills, though, because of the new class, obviously. 8 new in-game maps, with each with the new encounter and new rewards. Yep. So yeah, this stuff we pretty much already knew about. I did a video on before. Now let's do on the in-game changes. Areas of corruption of the Atlas now have central corrupted nexus that is source of the affliction. In the areas leading to the nexus, corruption will spill out from slain enemies and amalgamate into powerful monsters. I think we already touched on that before, where they talked about it. Upon reaching the nexus, you will begin the task cleansing the source of corruption. Complete this task and receive crystalline shards that you can use to obtain Atlas passive skill points. Good. A boss for each faction has been added. These appear in the corrupted nexus. Okay, I'm gonna go kind of fast with some of this stuff too, just because I don't want to spend too much time on the stuff I don't care as much about, or just don't really have too much thoughts on. But yeah, additional corruption monster factions have also been introduced. Nice. Corruption monsters have had their visuals and animations improved. Good. And their skills have been rebalanced. Okay. Corruption areas no longer implicitly have, wait, what? I think it says implicitly have +1 to area level, but now are much more likely to have modifiers. And the modifiers can be more powerful. Some new corruption modifiers have also been added. Okay. Drink some water. So, cleansing a nexus will cause surrounding maps to become cleansed maps, which have their own set of monsters and rewards, including the newly introduced Fracturing Orb. Yeah, which is good. And when Fracturing Orb is a new, I think, material to use, right? So Fracturing Orb fractures a random modifier on a rare item with at least 4 modifiers, locking it into place. Okay, yeah. Basically a new way to craft stuff. In order to open a corrupted nexus map, the waystone placed in the map device will need to have at least 4 modifiers. Yeah. Now you can now respawn and return to a map if you die upon first entering the end game. You get up to 6 total attempts per map. As you add more modifiers to the waystone, the number of respawns goes down. Okay, that's good. So instead of basically, if you one and done a map, as far as like you attempt a map and you die and then you just lose your rewards of the map, it's allowing you to have 6 respawns for that map. Good. In parties, everyone gets to respawn that number of times as well, so up to 6. Okay. You'll be able to enter and exit your maps as much as you like, as long as you haven't died. That's good. So no more limitations on how much you can enter and exit the map. The number of portals is representative of the number of revives you have during the map. Okay. Once you start a boss fight, the respawning system will change to require the map owner to collectively respawn the entire party. This is so that you must still kill the boss from full life. Makes sense. I respect that. If you decide to rush to the map boss without interacting with any of the other map content and then die, you will respawn at the boss checkpoint and only the map boss will be present. All the other monsters and content will be removed. This is to prevent cases where players would be able to farm multiple copies of the same rewards by dying on purpose. That makes a lot of sense. Number of towers on the Atlas have been reduced drastically, but each one is now more powerful. Yeah, and they did talk about doing it before. Tablets, except for overseer tablets, inherently add twice as many mechanics to towers. Using higher tier waystones and towers also now increases the number of mechanics applied to tablets. By tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many things as before. Sheesh. Tower maps can now spawn with all the extra content mechanics, including bosses. Good. The number of maps affected by tablets have been doubled on average, and also now scales based on map tier. All right, killing rare monsters required for map completion no longer has a chance to grant monster modifiers to the remaining rare monsters. Interesting. Okay. We got increased the chances for rare monsters to have 3 or 4 modifiers in maps. Note this means they drop more items. Makes sense. Okay, and that's good for us players. This is mostly to compensate for the removal of rare monsters, granting their modifiers to other rare monsters on death. Yeah, I see. Okay, I see how that balances out a little bit. The checkpoint now spawns when the last available optional content any map has been completed. Good. Extra content such as Breach, Delirium, Expedition, and Ritual now start spawning further away from the Ziggurat Refuge. Further away? Why would they spawn further away? Then again, mind you, I've not done everything in this game yet as far as like in-game and how stuff is supposed to work. So there's some stuff I don't have context for. But this is a bit confusing me. So if someone wants to comment if this is a good or bad thing, I'm a little confused. I'm just confused why they do that. But yeah. How waste zones are obtained in maps has been redesigned. Our intention is to make both sustaining waste zones drops much more reliable and less dependent on random elements. Good. Waste zones can no longer drop at a lower tier than the map you're in. Understandable. Waste zones dropped by final map bosses will now always be 1 tier higher than the map you're in. Good. Definitely we could need that. Let's see. Final map bosses and the final naturally occurring rare monsters in tier 1 maps have a 100% chance to drop a waste zone. This chance scales down as you get into higher map tiers, but will still be guaranteed with appropriate investment into waste zone suffix modifiers and through the Atlas passive tree. Natural. Wait, I think they meant natural. Or natural waste zones drops. I don't know. They misspelled that word, I think. Drops have been reduced to compensate. All right. Remove chances for waste zones to drop a tier higher from Atlas passive tree and lowered the amount of waste zone quantity available on the Atlas passive tree. Interesting choice. Sources of map boss have a chance to drop a waste zone of the current tier or higher have been replaced by increased quantity of waste zones dropped by map bosses. They're really improving waste zone drops and waste zones in general. Like they're getting buffed here, obviously. Overseer tablets now cause up to 2 to 4 maps in range to contain bosses. Previously 3 to 7. Good, more bosses to fight. Waste zone chance granted by waste zone suffix modifiers have been reduced as a result of new chances to drop waste zones. Yeah, okay, get it. Unidentified waste zones now provide 30% increased waste zone drop chance instead of 30% increased quantity. All right. First 5 different unique maps you complete each now grant 2 Atlas passive skill points for a total of 10 points. Ooh, that's good. That is really good. The specialties of some maps have been adjusted to account for the addition of Asmerian spirits. Okay, cool. Added new modifiers relating to Asmerian spirits for Overseer tablets. Added new modifiers related to Asmerian spirits in Rogue Exiles for Precursor tablets. So I'm not sure about the tablets. I've never actually used a tablet, so I guess this is good. It might not be good. The Untamed Paradise map now has 200 to 400% increased experience gain, previously 150 to 300. Ooh, which means we'll level up faster. Thank you. So it's not as much of a slog. A new crafting mechanic called Recombination has been added to Expedition, which allows you to select mods on 2 items, hoping to get the best elements of each on a single item. As you select more mods, the chance of success decreases. If you are not successful, items will be destroyed. This will be unlocked as you complete your first expedition and requires artifacts found during the expedition to fuel it. Basically, another gambling type mechanic in crafting mechanic game. It's a love-hate thing. Like, it's cool that this is there, and I get it that like it's randomized, but at the same time, I really wish we had more control over like what we get as far as like the stuff we need on weapons and gear. I really wish we had a bit more control. That's still a bit of a gripe of mine, but I understand too that they want people to keep playing the game, and instead of just like being able to craft what they want fully, got to take a chance. I get it. It's going to be free to play when it comes out, and they got to keep people invested. A tablet modifier that causes ritual favors in your maps to have 5 to 10% increased chance to be omens now has values of 15 to 25%. Ooh, increase that. Okay. Diversity tablet modifier that causes map boss to have a plus 10 20% chance to drop a waystone of current tier or higher now has values of plus 5 to 8%. All right, that's good. Precursor tablets substances that granted additional base chance for random extra content now instead grant increased chance. This affects existing items. Okay. More tablet modifier stuff. Provides increased rarity of items found in your maps now. Has values of 10 to 50%. So before it was 10 to 20. So that got nerfed a bit. All right. Tab modifiers that provides increased quantity of items found in your maps. Values of 3 to 7%. Receive 3 to 8. That's getting nerfed. Yo, Jawline, what's up, dude? Tab modifiers that provides increased pack size in your maps now has values of. Oh wait, did I already go over that? No, that's a different thing. Jeez, this is confusing because the numbers are kind of the same here. 37%. So this got a little bit of I think a nerf. And then the one tablet that provides increased gold found in your maps is now values of 10 to 50%. Okay, this got buffed, so the gold one got buffed. Here for the patch notes, yeah, man, we're talking about it. I figured why not. Tablet modifiers that give breaches in your maps increase monster density now give a 4 to 6%. That got nerfed. While the modifier that also gives breaches open faster now has values of 3 to 5%. This got nerfed for some reason. Well, this type of tablet. Then again, I never done breaches. I've done like some in game, but not a lot. Because it kind of got tedious and kind of just wasn't as fun as I hoped it would have been. The tablet modifier for rare monsters having an additional modifier can no longer roll. And the modifier in I can never say this word right. Simulacrum for rare monsters having an additional modifier no longer appears. Huh. Okay. That's probably not a good thing for some people. The various in-game quests that led to the Arbiter of the Ash encounter has been consolidated into a single quest. Cool. Reduce the amount of time doing that. All bosses that are affected by difficulty in Simulacrum can now drop all their specific unique items at any difficulty. Oh, that's really good. However, rare uniques are even rarer at lower difficulties. I mean, that makes sense. Higher difficulty, high risk, high reward. So this also applies to the drop chances for reliquary keys from this content. Okay. Pinnacle boss content now takes roughly half the amount of time to unlock compared to before. Thank you. In addition, pinnacle bosses have been made much easier at difficulty 0 as well. It's our intention to allow you to face difficulty 0 with this content much earlier in your in-game progression while still preserving the difficulty of difficulty 4. Okay, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. Players no longer lose experience from dying in Simulacrum. Twisted Domain, or also Arena inside logbooks, the Crux of Nothingness, or the Burning Monolith. Players also no longer gain experience from killing monsters in these areas. Wait, what? Why? Players also no longer gain experience from killing monsters in these areas? What? So we don't lose experience from dying in these areas. We also don't gain experience from. I'm so confused. Why? That seems stupid, but okay. Move the location of the stash in Simulacrum to make it harder to accidentally start the encounter when trying to open that stash. Wait, what? Okay. I guess they're trying to like fix that. Not have you actually restart it up. Reduce the power of notables on the league specific atlas passive trees for acquiring logbooks, breach splinters, Simulacrum. Splinters and Audience with the King. Delirium encounters and maps now reward one Slocum Splinter each time a reward type is filled. Interesting. Slocum Splinters can now be obtained through Delirium encounters on all map tiers, with the amount scaling up per map tier. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The base number of monsters spawned in Delirium encounters has been reduced, and the number that emerge by touching fracturing mirrors has been greatly increased. I see. Okay. No, that's a good balance actually. Uh, yeah. So you're reducing the base number of monsters spawn in these encounters, but then you're also increasing it when you do the whole fracturing mirrors, like when it's touched. So okay, yeah, I get it. Reduce the intensity of the fog and delirium encounters. You know those things. Number of monsters spawned from breaches has been reduced. Cool. Higher percentage of total number of breach monsters spawned are now spawned earlier in the encounter. Reduce the number of small breach chests found. Wait, what? Why? Maybe it was too much loot. Maybe it was just bad. I don't know. Breach splinters can now be obtained from breaches in all map tiers, with the amount scaling up per map tier. Okay, good. They bounced that out a bit. Breach and delirium encounters are now considered complete when you open the collapsed hand or delirium mirror. Strongboxes now spawn slightly more packs of monsters in maps. I'm not sure why they need to spawn slightly more packs of monsters with strongboxes, but okay. Omens now always appear as ritual rewards in map areas. There's also a small chance for an additional omen to appear. So I don't know how omens work in this game or what's the benefit of them. Somebody in the comments, let me know. Or somebody already knows in chat, let me know. Because I don't think I mess with that. Offenders in the Zagreb Refuge and those in your hideout now correctly have level 65 items available, rather than one having level 60 items and the other having level 70. Oh, thank you. This bothered me. This is definitely one thing that bothered me. Is they need to have the appropriate levels of items so you can buy them if you want. If you exit the game while in an in-game map area, logging back in, the same character will now place you back inside the map instance if it still exists. That's actually a really good thing. Okay, less information here overall, but the Atlas Pass skill tree changes, right? Added support for Asmarian spirits in Rogue Exiles to the Atlas Pass tree, because Rogue Exiles are basically like, I'm thinking of the way I'm treating Rogue Exiles is going to be something like in a Souls game, where you got essentially NPC invaders or AI invaders that will try to take you out. And usually in Souls games, right, these NPC invaders are basically like characters that have skills and moves similar to what you have, if not the same, in some aspects, especially Elden Ring. So it's close thing to PvP, and I'm actually all for it. Plus the gear you get from it, yeah. Actually, I could say it's similar to what Neo and Neo 2 do as well, the Revenants, in a way. Added more notable passives and reworked some existing ones to make the available choices more interesting. Ooh, good. The Deadly Evolution Atlas Keystone has been replaced by a new keystone called Ecological Shift, which causes your maps to have 40% more chance to contain random extra content and 20% less number of monster packs in your maps. That's good. Like, yeah, I think that's a welcome change. You can now obtain 40 Atlas Pass skill points, previously 30. Ooh, oh yeah, because they expanded the Atlas Pass skill tree anyway, so that makes sense. That makes sense. The Crumbling Walls Atlas Noble passive now has 10% chance for additional breach. They nerfed this. It had a 50% before. 50% chance for 3 additional breaches. Okay, they nerfed that as well. Percent chance 10 additional breaches. What the heck? I don't know about that. The extreme archaeology notable Atlas Pass no longer causes monsters to spawn with 20% of their life missing. Wait, what? That was a thing? Okay. The Frantic Invasion Atlas Noble passive now has 50% increased quantity of breach splinters dropped by breach monsters in your maps. So that got reduced because it was 75% before. The Craftsman Hands Atlas Notable passive now has 30% more collapsed hands. Okay, so it was 50% before. Collapsed hands in your maps have 20% chance to be guarded by a pack of magic monsters. Huh. Okay. I got reduced. Let's get these last three for this part. Anyway, the Interdimensional Assault Atlas Noble passive now has breaches in your maps. 10% increased monster density. Previously it was 15. So maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, because it was 15, so it means 10%. Yeah, so it's less. The Omnis Portals Atlas Noble passes now cause virtual favor in your maps to have 100% increased chance to be omens. And before it's 50. That's a good buff. The Rising Pyre Atlas Nobles passive now has breaches in your maps and have 25% increased monster density, previously 40%. I'm taking my time reading this too because some of the stuff is like kind of confusing at first when I first glance and I like read it again, like, oh, okay. We got some general improvements here. Stormboxes can now appear in Act 1. Add stash to treasure room and Trials of Chaos. Many fire skills now visually burn grass in areas. Improve the performance of summoning and reviving minions. Further improve safety checks, preventing using movement skills to skip the elevators in the Trials of Chaos encounters and prevent encounters from functioning correctly. See, jumps performed when using escape shot and toxic growth now allow you to jump over enemies in small amounts of terrain. Ooh, that's a nice buff or nice addition. Vaulting Impact will also receive this change at a later date. Oh man, so not in this patch, but later. The Decay buff from Decaying Hex support now uses a more appropriate visual effect and displays below the enemy's life bar. Good. Grenade skills now have a small amount of random variation in travel distance when firing multiple grenades at once. I don't know if I like that. Random variation in travel distance? Firebolt now uses the same animation as freezing shards instead of generic projectile spell animations. Updated 3D art of stash and guild stashes. Okay, cool. Fortune benches in towns has been repositioned to more optimal locations. Stash and guild stashes have also been slightly spaced apart to reduce misclicking. That's good. Oh boy, we got a lot of player changes. So, characters now Characters are now required to be at least level 25 to enter cool difficulty areas in level 50. Cool difficulty areas. And level 50 to enter in-game areas. That changes things. That's going to change how I do builds going forward because I know you guys voted on me want to do builds like do like an early game level 25 build, and then I end up doing a level 45 build because I figured like level 45 was a good like level to be when you're done with cool difficulty and going into in game. Now they're making a level 50 requirement, which means I got to change up my like early to mid to late game type of build strategy. Which is fine. The player's base attack speed while unarmed is now 1.4 attacks per second. Previously it was 1.2. Okay, so increased attack speed there. Killing Palm, Shattering Palm, Staggering Palm, and Hand of Cholula now have 25% less attack speed to compensate for this change. Dude, no. How is that a good thing to compensate for that? Is 1.4 attacks per second really that drastic compared to 25%? I don't know, man. Freeze now builds up roughly 48% slower on enemies. Wait, why? Wait, what? Why did they nerf freeze build up? Is the base damage good? Player's base ailment threshold is now half of maximum life. Previously, all maximum life. They nerfed ailment threshold as well. What the? Hold on. But is this against the player? I think this may be against the player. Maybe it's a good thing actually. presence base radius is now 4 meters. Previously it was 6 meters. Not sure what they mean by this, like if that's a good or bad thing. Monster modifiers stolen from rare monsters, such as through behead support, have had the effect they provide to players adjusted to be more appropriate. Ready then? The cruel version of Candlemass Essence now provides 5% increased life. They nerfed this because it was 8%. The Worn Sandals Trial of this second affliction now grants 30% less move speed if you've been hit by an enemy recently. So they buffed a debuff. Was this too easy or something? I'm confused. Hey, Kwai. How you doing? Blocking a hit by raising your shield or parrying now gives you a chance to avoid accumulating heavy stun buildup equal to the chance you would otherwise have had to evade the hit. This is a good thing because they're adding in the buckler shield with the Huntress class. You can now parry with that, and so this makes sense for shield to get some buffs here and stuff like that, and adjustments because you got warrior who can use shield, and now you got the Huntress who can use shield as well. Unified stun mechanics and terminology between players and monsters. The stagger that players suffer when blocking too much damage will, with their shield raised, is now a heavy stun. Oh. Players are still unable to be heavy stunned unless a mechanic specifically states otherwise. Pretty much, I was checking out some stuff too about this from other creators, it's like that. In the devs themselves actually. So yeah, if you get heavily stunned, which shouldn't happen a ton overall, depending on your build, you better watch out because if you get heavily stunned, I think you can get just taken out if by the right boss or enemy or mob. Players can no longer be light stunned with their shield raised. Good. That's for the warriors that like to use shield. That's going to be good for you. Modifiers to curse effect have been changed to instead apply to curse magnitude. This means that they are wait. I was going to say addictive, but it's additive. Additive with any other modifiers to the effect of the debuff on the target. For example, curse magnitude and slow magnitude are now additive with each other for temporal chains. I think what they mean by additive is they can just combo each other. I'm thinking that's what they mean by that. You can now combo these together. At least I hope. Player created objects such as ice crystals no longer have a monster power value. So I'm not sure how good or bad that was originally. A monster power value, I'm not sure when it related to this. Ice crystals can no longer apply on kill effects such as Herald of Ash in Jumpato's Overkill. Alrighty then. Players have 50% more light stun threshold per time stun in past 4 seconds. Previously it was 25%. So they buffed. This is a buff. Previously 25% more player light stun threshold per time stun in the past 6 seconds. Your heavy stun bar now does start emptying, until the heavy stun animation has finished, instead of when the heavy stun animation starts. That's better, I guess. Heavy stun duration on players is now 3 seconds. Previously 1 second. Ooh. They're really trying to push, this on people in the sense of like, be careful, get heavy stun. You'll get messed up. Players cannot block or evade hits while they are heavily stunned. I mean, that makes sense. You're stunned. Critical weakness stacks now track duration individually, rather than refreshing the duration of all stacks when a new stack is gained. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I had to reread that. Pin targets can no longer evade. Wait. Are you serious? This was a thing? I don't use pinned in here, so I didn't know. But I did not know that pin targets can no longer could evade before. Like what? No, that should have never been a thing. If they're pinned for a set amount of time. I mean, a target now also causes them to be light stunned. Good. Yeah, that makes way more sense. The base duration for endurance, frenzy, and power charges is now 15 seconds. Previously was 20. Wow, this got nerfed. What the heck? Why? They're nerfing some stuff that doesn't make sense to nerf. Fully broken armor now causes enemies to take 20% increased physical damage from hits. Okay, cool. Revivable minions now spawn with their skills on cooldown. Why? This only applies to newly summoned minions, not minions that have just revived. I see. So if you had a minion just die or whatever, and then they revive, then they don't have a cooldown. But if it's a newly summoned minion, like say you add I guess a new type of minion or whatever the heck that you didn't have before, then their skills are on cooldown. That's what I'm getting from this. Yo, Belofi with the 17 months. Thank you. Thank you so much. An ancestry boosted slam now has 30% more damage and 20% more AoE versus 20% for both. All right, that's I got a little bit of buff. Persistent minions granted by Ascendancy passive skills will now automatically be summoned when you allocate the passive for the first time. Ooh. A lot of stuff got nerfed because of the game blasters spamming and stuff. That's why the devs are bringing the ceiling down and the floor up on damage and abilities. Are you serious? What? What? Game blasters, as you say? Like, what do you mean by game blasters? Are you meaning like those people that just were doing such meta builds that are just clearing stuff so freaking quick? Is that what's going on? There's too many players that's clearing stuff too fast. I'll let you respond. Yeah, people doing trillions of damage. Jeez, no wonder so much stuff's getting nerfed then. Yeah. Which is crazy because I haven't even fully seen it myself yet. Because I don't do meta builds yet. I've been trying to do my own weird, unique type of builds in a sense. But yeah, I know about some of the builds that have been one-shotting bosses. I do understand that. So they do have to make some nerfs and adjustments so that people aren't one-shotting bosses as much or anymore. I get that. I definitely understand. All right, where was I at? Right here. Players and monsters now only count as moving while moving, rather for the whole length of many animations that have some movement during some part of them. That's good. Setting a stat to a specific value, such as chaos, inculation, setting your life to 1, or blood magic, setting your mana to 0, now occurs before conversion is applied to that stat, rather than being ignored by conversion. Okay. This I don't think I've messed with before. I'm reading it again. I get it now a little bit better. So before it was being ignored by conversion, now it's not going to be ignored. They fixed that. Okay, I get it. Ascendancy changes. Titan. The surprising strength Ascendancy notable passive now provides 50% more damage against heavy stunned enemies. Previously was 40%. So Titan Warriors, you're getting some buffs here. The Earthbreaker Ascendancy Noble passive now provides a 25% chance for slam skills you use yourself to cause aftershocks. Or it's 20%. Okay, good. So Warriors are getting some buffs, which they honestly need, in my opinion, because, man, we need armor buffed. Seriously. I'm hoping that's in here somewhere, where armor's buffed. Warbringer. The War Caller is below Ascendancy passive skill now causes war cries to explode corpses. Oh. they're allowing not just the witch class to do like essentially corpse explosion. Now they're allowing the warrior to do it too. And what I mean by that is like without having to get like a skill from like the witch to do it, basically like corpse explosion, for example, or detonate dead. So this is interesting. Now Warbringer warriors can blow up corpses with their own skill. Well, it's a ascendancy passive, but still. Dealing 20% of their life as physical damage instead of providing corpses in your presence. Wait, instead of providing corpses in your presence explode when you war cry, dealing 25% of their life as physical damage. This allows for war cry area of effect to scale the corpse explosion radius. Nice. Hey, that makes me want to play warrior now even more. I still haven't messed with warrior really yet. The Turtle Charm Ascendancy passive now has 25% less block chance. That was 35% before, and they nerfed this. Guess it was OP before? I don't know. The Encase in Jade skill has been reworked. It now consumes all stacks of Jade to grant guard based off of your maximum life for each Jade stack consumed. Okay, I haven't messed with that yet, so that might be a good thing. That might be a bad thing. The Ancestral Spirits skill granted by Answered Call Ascendancy passive skill now has minions from this skill have 1% increased accuracy rating per 3 of your dexterity. And minion from this skill have 1% increased damage per 3 of your strength. Minions granted by this skill have had the following changes. Wait. Warbringer gets minions? Since when? Dude, I did not know this. What the heck? Warbringer's like freaking witch, necromancer? What, bro? So Ancestral Jade Caster's pinning skill has had its cooldown lowered by 10 seconds. It was 15 before. Okay, so that's a buff. And I got a Jade Hulk damage. Now has 3% more stun buildup. It was 24, so that's another buff. War Calls Bellow buff from the Ancestral Warhorn now grants 10 rage on hit. Increases 5 and 20% increased skill speed. Nice, increased skill speed. Warrior definitely needs increased skill speed all around. Warrior getting some nice buffs here though. This is insane. The Post Shell Aura from the Ancestral Spirit Turtle now grants nearby allies 80% increased defense. Accuracy was 50. So yeah, if you're playing in a party, that's beneficial. And 4% increased block chance. Yeah, good. The Gemling Legionnaire enhanced effectiveness ascendancy passive skill now also grants 20% less attributes. Oh, that's a nerf. Whoa. Why? The integrated efficiency ascendancy passive skill has swap positions with gem studded. It no longer provides a +3 skill slots. Instead, it now causes skills to gain 20% increased damage per socketed red support gem. Skills gain 6% increased skill speed per socketed green support gem. And skills gain 20% increased critical hit chance per socketed blue support gem. That's wild. Wow. The implanted gem's ascendancy passive skill no longer provides +1 to level of all skills. Instead, it now provides a choice between +2 to level of all skills with a strength requirement, +2 to level of all skills with a dexterity requirement, or +2 to level all skills with an intelligence requirement. So at least it's +2 instead of +1, so that's a buff. Witch Hunter. The No Mercy Ascendancy passive skill now causes you to deal up to 4% more damage to enemies based on their missing concentration. Nice. The Obsessive Rituals Ascendancy passive skill now provides 30% less armor and evasion rating. What? 35% less armor and evasion rating. It was 50% before. Okay. So technically it's a buff, I guess. The Sorcery Ward Barrier recharge delay has also been reduced by 2 seconds at all gem levels. Deadeye. The Thrilling Chase Ascendancy passive skill now provides when you consume frenzy charges, you count as having consumed twice as many. Increases 50% chance and described in a slightly different way. Huh. Okay. So now it's like guaranteed instead of 50%, it sounds like. Pathfinder. The running assault ascendancy passive now grants 50% less movement speed penalty from using skills while moving. Okay, the location of this past skill has been swapped with relentless pursuit. It was 30% before. The connected chemistry ascendancy passive skill has been removed. Enduring elixirs no longer has a prerequisite. Added a new multi-choice practical remedies ascendancy passive skill that provides the ability to allocate grounding stick, dowsing vial, or thawing campfire, which provide immunity to shock, immunity to ignite, and immunity to freeze, respectively. That's cool. Okay. Yo, Phoenix, what's up, dude? Added a new sustainable practices ascendancy passive skill, which provides 30% evasion rating. Also granted elemental damage reduction. It requires practical remedies. Okay. I once again have not dabbled too much in other classes or everything here, so this I'm not sure how good or bad this is going to be. We're going over the PoE2 Dawn of the Hunt patch notes. Acolyte Cholula, which is what I have a lot of experience in. The Embrace of Darkness Ascending passive skill now provides +8 to maximum darkness per level. Previously it was +5. Nice buff. The Ravenous Doubts Ascendancy passive skill no longer provides mana leech. Is instant. Wait. Instead, it now provides mana leech. Recovers based on other damage types as well as physical damage. Oh, actually, no, that is a good thing. Yeah, that'll be a good thing. Honor lost during the trial of Thomas is now taken before the Acolyte that shows darkness. Okay, I know that's weird. Invoker. I'm not messing with Invoker yet. And Protect Me from Harm ascendancy passive skill now provides 50% less evasion rating. Previously was 40. Jeez, nerfed. The Lead Me Through Grace ascendancy passive skill now provides 1 spear for every 8 energy shield on equipped body armor. Previously was 6. Okay, so I got buffed. And 1 spirit for every 20 evasion rating on equipped body armor. Yep, that was 15 before, so I got buffed. The Elemental Expression skill granted by the and scatter them to the winds ascendancy passive skill now deals 4% more damage at all gem levels. Ooh, cool. Blood Mage, come on, tell me Blood Mage got buffed. The Blood Barbs ascendancy passive skill no longer provides 10% of damage gained as extra physical damage. It now causes bleeding you inflict on cursed targets to be aggravated. Oh man. No. Added a new Between the Cracks ascendancy passive skill that causes critical hits to ignore monster armor. Requires Singumancy. Alright, that makes sense. That's cool. Infernalist. Demon Form skill granted by the Demonic Possession ascendancy passive skill now has a cooldown of 15 seconds. It was 24, so it's got buffed. And a maximum Demon Flame of 10, previously uncapped. You now lose a flat amount of life per second per Demon Flame, scaling with skill level. Rather than a percentage of your maximum life, the dodge roll while in Demon Form has also had its distance reduced. Why is it that? Damn, man. Was this stuff like that OP? The Seething Body Ascendancy passive skill now has, while on high Infernal Flame, you and your allies in your presence gain 50% of damage as fire damage. So I got a buff because it was 20% before. The Grinning Emulation Ascendancy passive skill now provides 50% more critical damage bonus. Previously was 30. Okay, nice buff there. Paramedic Pact Ascendancy passive skill now has 50% of Infernal Flame to be lost per second if none was gained in the past 2 seconds. No problem. The Bringer of Flame ascendancy passive skill now causes all damage from you and your allies in your presence to contribute to ignite chance and magnitude instead of providing while not on low Infernal Flame. All damage from you and the allies in your presence contribute to ignite chance and magnitude. No longer required Pyromanic Pact. That's interesting. The loyal Hellhound Ascendancy passive skill no longer causes 20% of damage from hits, to be taken from your Hellhound's life before you. What? No way. So your Hellhound's no longer going to take damage before you do. Wow, they nerfed that. Wow. Dude, what is going on with all these nerfs, man? I mean, I know, Jawline, you said that it's because people were just clearing stuff too fast. But man, there's got to be some other reasons too. The Master Darkness Ascendancy passive skill now grants Demon Flame has no maximum. The small mana Ascendancy passive skills now provide 3% increase in maximum mana. It was 4% before. After allocating the Pyromanic Pact Ascendancy passive skill, you will now have at least one maximum Infernal Flame, even with 100% reduced maximum mana. Using Blink while in demon form now plays inappropriate animation instead of landing to blink. Dude, Warrior, it seems like it's so far it's the only one that's really getting a lot of buffs. Everyone else, Huntress aside because she's new, but every other class is just like getting some significant nerfs. Like holy hell, man. Chronomancer, circular heart beat Ascendancy passive skill has been removed. Rapid River no longer has a requisite. The Quicksand Hourglass Ascendancy passive skill now grants every 10 seconds. Gain 50% more cast speed for 5 seconds. Previously was 12 seconds. And gain 50% more cast speed for 4 seconds. Okay, so that's a buff. Added a new Flood of Echoes Ascendancy passive skill that grants the Unleashed skill. Not sure what Unleashed skill does. And they're not saying here. Stormweaver, the Force of Will Ascendancy passive skill now provides 1% increased effect of Arcana Surge on you per 25 maximum mana. Okay, that's a nice buff because it was 15 before. The Scoring Winds Ascendancy passive skill now causes exposure you inflict to lower the affected resistance by an additional 12%. That was 20% before. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Strike Twice Ascendancy notable passives no longer provides 30% less shock duration. Instead, it now provides 25% less magnitude of shock you inflict. I guess that's a nice balance, I guess. Small mana Ascendancy passive skills no longer provide 4% increase in maximum mana and now provide 12% increased mana regen rate. Yeah, no, that's good. We got not too much left, guys. We got pass. Oh boy, we got a bunch of skills. Maybe never mind. We got support changes. Oh man, never mind about that. We got a lot. This is already gone longer than anticipated. Holy smokes! Passive skill tree changes. So we added new blind related clusters, volatility related clusters, range, melee, hazards, companion, presence, radius, parry, banner, bleeding, thorns, quiver, crimson assault, keystone skill to the southeast and ranger of the huntress starting location. Crimson assault causes bleed you inflict to be aggravated. The base bleeding duration to be 1 second. Add a new trusted kinship keystone passive skill to the southeast of the ranger huntress starting location. Trusted kinship allows you to have 2 companions, different types. Causes companions to have +1 to each defense for every 2 of the defense you have. Also causes you to have 30% less defenses. I guess that makes sense. You got companions to help you out, so yeah. Calling Noble passive skill has been removed. You will no longer be able to instill them. Existing ones will still function. Break focus, hold focus, lasting, concoctions, no escape, pin down, and potent concoctions. So jewels sockets have been removed from the passive skill tree. Existing characters with jewels in those removed sockets can reclaim their jewels to their main inventory using a new reclaim jewels chat command. Okay, why do I gotta use a chat command? Why can't we just click on it or just automatically give it back to us? I don't understand. The acrobatics keystone passive skill now grants 75% less evasion rating. Previously was 70%. That's not much of a change, I guess. The Eldritch Battery Keystone Passive skill now has additional property of doubles mana cost. What? The Giant Blood Keystone Passive skill now has triple attribute requirements of martial weapons. It's previously only affected axes, maces, and swords, but was described as weapons. Oh, great. Cat like Agility Noble Passive now provides 4% increased evasion rating if you dodge rolled recently. I got a buff because it was 25% before. The Falcon Technique Notable Passive skill now grants 1% increased attack speed per 25 dexterity. All right, we got a buff too. The Freedom of Movement Notable Passive skill now provides 10% reduced movement speed ability from using skills previously. 3% evasion rating if you dodge rolled recently. Huh. I don't know about that, man. That's wild. The Heavy Buffer Notable Passive skill grants 5% of damage taken by passive energy shield instead of 10% reduced maximum life. All right. Icebreaker grants additional freeze threshold equal to 50% of maximum energy shield. Okay. Mana Blessing Noble Passive no longer has 5% increased maximum mana and now provides 20% increased mana regen rate. I'll take that. I mean, mana regen is very important. Master Fletching Noble Passive skill now provides 20% increased bonuses gained from equipped quiver. Previously was 30%. The two small passive skills prior now have values of 6%. And while the two passive skills after now provides 20% increased chance to inflict ailments with projectiles or 15% increased projectile stun buildup. That's a mouthful. Wow. Okay. A mix of like nerfs and buffs there. Hollow Noble Passive skill now grants 3% increased armor break debuff effect instead of its previous effects. The Polymathy Noble Passive skill now grants 10% increased attributes. Jeez, that's nerfed. The Raw Mana Noble Passive skill now provides 8% increased maximum mana. Wow, nerfed. Jeez. This is insane. We're going to have to figure this out. We're going to figure, I mean, I guess the new support gems or something's going to, or new items is going to help maybe balance this out a bit. I mean, there's still going to be broken stuff in the game, skills, gear, and everything else. There's still going to be broken stuff in this game. It's just, these nerfs, man. I don't know. We're definitely going to figure out some new ways to be powerful and survive. The Spaghettification Noble Passive skill now grants plus 13 to all attributes instead of 7% increased attributes, and also now provides negative 7% to cast resistance. Okay, so that's not bad. That's actually not bad. It's actually a buff. The Split the Earth Noble Passive skill now has 6% chance for mace and strike skills you use yourself to cause aftershocks. Devastating damage to enemies with 1.8 meters. All right. The Unhindered Notable Passive skill now provides 4% reduced movement speed penalty. Using skills while moving. Previously increased 3% movement speed. One of the slow effects. Wait, what? One of the slow effect on you small passive skills is no. In this cluster has also been updated to provide 8% reduced movement speed penalty. Your Wayward Stance Keystone Passive skill no longer has your stun threshold and is doubled. Instead, it is or now has cannot be light stun. The small attack damage with nearby ally passive skill and Killer Instinct cluster has been replaced with another small passive skill providing 10% increased attack damage. Ooh. Small passive skills that previously provided 8% increased effect of auras from your aura skills now have values of 5%. Notable passive skills that provide 20% increased effect of auras from your aura skills now have value of 12%. Wait, what? I gotta read this again. This is previously 8% increase. Okay. That's so weird, but okay. Clarify the wording of the iron grip on the iron. Alright, cool. Skill changes. So, your skills have had their base damage and or damage growth per level rebalanced. Most but these changes are not specifically mentioned below as the changes are too widespread. Yeah, that makes sense. Net cost for all attacks, marks, and war cries has been reduced, most notably at higher gym levels. That's good. Mana cost reduced. Just submitting damage in life scaling. General damage in life is the same as early game, but lower than before at higher levels, especially past. Wait, what? Why are you nerfing minions at high level? What? But lower than before at higher levels, especially. I guess people were just going ham of minion builds and clearing too fast. Because holy smokes, wow, minions get nerfed. Just as the target life threshold for skeletal arsonist, explosive demise skill according with the life scaling changes. Just as skeletal clerics heal life scaling accordingly. All right. Arc no longer deals more damage for each remaining chain and chains 6 to 8 times at gym levels 5 to 20. Previously 2 to 5. Quality now provides 0 to 2% more damage for each remaining chain. Okay. Archmage now causes non-channeling spells that gain 3% damage as extra lightning damage for each 100 maximum mana you have at all gym levels. Previously it was 5 to 6%. And I got nerfed. Gym levels 14 to 20. Non-channeling spells now cost an additional 6.1% of your maximum mana at gym levels 14 to 20. Jeez. Nerfed. Reservation. Instead of granting non-channeling spells, gain 0 to 2% of damage as extra lightning damage for each 100 maximum mana you have. Wow. Armor Breaker. Wait, hold on. Armor Breaker has had armor break amount lowered by roughly 20% of all gym levels. Huh. That. I don't know about that one. That's weird. That's wild to me. That is straight up wild to me. Like, what the heck? All right, artillery ballista base physical damage scaling now matches that of other totems like shockwave totem and ripwire ballista. The artillery explosion now converts 100%. Okay. Percent of physical damage to fire damage. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's better. That's better. All right. We got a lot of skills to go into. Jeez. Ancestral Warrior Totem now explicitly states that it wields a two-handed mace to clarify that it benefits from your mace-related stats. That's good. Banner skills now have an aura radius 4.5 meters and now correctly considered aura skills. Bear repeats now deal 50% less damage at all gym levels. Jeez. Bear Invocation now only builds energy from enemy hits to energy shield rather than all hits to energy shield. Bear Invocation now gains 1 energy for each 10 energy shield lost to damage taken. Blink is now a travel skill apparently as well. Bleeding Concoction has 200% more magnitude of bleeding inflicted. That got buffed. I am seeing a lot of like nerfs though from a lot of stuff. And we're not even done yet. This is huge. This is huge. I'm probably not going to go all over all this. This is so much, man. Heard a plague now requires a marsh weapon? Jeez. This is just so much. Support changes. Astral projections. Now cause support skills that have 20% less area AoE. Vitality now causes support skills that deal 24% more physical damage. That got nerfed. Inscription has 100% cost multiplier. Jeez. Cannibalism now provides 2% of life recovered on kill while support skill is active. I can't say that right. Capacitator? I don't know. Now has 130% cost multiplier. Jeez. Close combat now has 120% cost multiplier. Considered casting now has 115% cost multiplier. What the heck? Controlled destruction extracts supports now correctly are not stockable into skills which had secondary damaging hits but no spell damage hits. These supports were never scaling damage of these skills and were just incorrectly stockable. Okay, that makes sense. You fixed that. Crescendo now is 120% cost multiplier. Nice. Combination now causes support skills to deal 3% more damage per combo. Okay, that got buffed. And now lose combo if you generate no combo for 4 seconds. Ugh. Exploit weakness now causes support skills to consume enemy fully broken armor to deal 4% more damage. I guess that's better. Feeding Frenzy and Meat Shield can no longer support minions which are undamageable. Oh, that sucks. Fist of War now has a cost multiplier for 150. That sucks. Hourglass now causes support skills deal 30% more damage. Wow. It was 40 before. Impact Shockwave now causes support skills to cause an aftershock when they heavy stun an enemy, dealing the same damage to enemies within 1.8 meters. Impetuous now has 150% cost multiplier. Lockdown now has cost 100%. Okay, so I got buffed. It's because it was 220 before. Magnified Effect now has 130% cost multiplier. Jeez. And causes support skills to have 30% more AoE. So less AoE. Why? Mana Flare now has a flare radius of 2 meters. 1.6 those before. Okay, so I got buffed. And now consume 25% of current mana to deal that much fire damage. Okay. Meat Shield support now grants minions from support skills take 30% less damage instead of granting them 50% more maximum life. Alright. Fair. Mobility support now has 25% less move speed penalty while using support skills. Okay. Was 30% before, so Neural Overload now has cost multiplier of 100%. Overcharge support no longer causes support skills to have less shock duration. It now has shocks caused by support skills reflected back to you. That's interesting change. Potential now causes support skills to have 4% more chance to critically hit when consuming power charges. Okay, that's a buff. Scatter Shot support now has support skills deal 35% less damage. That's 1% before. Got nerfed. Shock Siphon can no longer be engraved in the gem cutting menu. Existing copies of the support will still function. Spell Echo support can no longer support triggered skills. What? Oh, dude, that sucks. Spiral Volley now fires directly forward with the fast arrow instead of the final arrow. Strip Away now causes exposure applied by support skills to have 20% increased effect. And I got nerfed. Unbreakable now has different stun threshold multiplier values for incoming light stuns as opposed to incoming heavy stuns. Window of Opportunity now causes support skills to deal 35% more damage when released with perfect timing. Previously was 50% and have a 35% shorter perfect timing window. Withering Touch now has a chance to apply withered based on the amount of chaos damage dealt by the hit. Always applying a single attack. And allows that chances to roll over beyond 100% to potentially apply multiple stacks with large hits. Okay, I like that. I do like that. So I do use Withered Touch. Unique item changes. I'm not going to go over these per se just because I do not even know what all the uniques are. I haven't gotten them. I've got very few uniques and I'm just not going to worry about this. I'd rather be surprised. Let's just say that. Item changes. I don't know if we need to go over this. Well, actually, no. Jeweler orbs now set a skill gem to have a specified number of support gem sockets rather than adding support gem sockets to a skill gem with a specific number of support gem sockets already. For example, you can now use a perfect jeweler's orb on a skill gem with 2 support gem sockets to set it to have 5 support gem sockets. Thank you. That is actually really good. Advanced and expert item based types now have distinctive names. Runes now have 3 tiers. For example, Storm Runes has been. Sorry. um, example, Storm Rune has been split into lesser Storm Rune. Let's see. Storm Rune, Greater Storm Rune. You're able to reforge 3 lesser runes for regular rune of that type, and reforge 3 regular runes for 1 greater rune of that type. Okay. And then double the drop rate of runes. Good. You can no longer reforge 3 runes to obtain a Ren rune in return, though. That sucks. Using the Valor Orb on an item can no longer cause a modifier with a value of 1 to be reduced to 0. Huh. I see what I see. Never mind. I understand. Man, they changed a lot of the items in here. Base damage of all crossbows has been increased. That's good. Crossbows also now have 2-handed versions of added damage modifiers instead of the 1-handed versions they were using. Physical thorns damage on rare item modifiers have been buffed by up to 3.5 times for the highest tier modifier, scaling down 2 and change for the lower tier modifier. Okay. That's an interesting change. Increased rarity of items found. Modifiers on items have been lowered at top end. The suffix modifier now goes up to 25% at the highest tier. So it was 30% before. While the prefix modifier now goes up 25, that was 32% before. That kind of got nerfed. Golden Charm now grants 15% increased rarity of items found. That got nerfed. Breach rings now have the implicit modifier maximum quantity is 40%. Existing items can be updated using Divine Orb. It used to be 50. Wow. Chance for breach rings to drop has been greatly reduced. Notable passive skills in the starting areas of each class can no longer be instilled or found on unique items like Megalomaniac. This does not fix existing items where instilled notables in this sorceress witch/witch starting area could display incorrectly on the item due to the nobles being different on which compared to sorcerers in other classes. Huh. That's weird. So they're changing up where. Well, no, that makes sense because this is going to be a new big content update. They're revamping the passive skill trees, so actually, no, that makes sense for these classes. Add a new jewel modifier that provides similar benefits to new passive skills added to the passive skill tree, such as companions have increased maximum life. Okay, that's cool. Jewel and time lost jewel modifiers that provide stats scarcely located on the passive skill tree, such as increased blind effect or damage taken recouped as life, have been adjusted. Generally speaking, the minimum range has stayed the same, but the maximum value provided is lower than before. Oh, great. So less recoup life is what I'm guessing with that. Increased effect of aura from your aura skills can no longer roll on jewels or time lost jewels. Gotcha. The fleshing jewel and time lost jewel modifiers that provides increased bonuses gained from equipped quiver now have values of 4 to 6% and 2 to 3% respectively. And they used to be higher. So that got nerfed. The jewel modifiers that grants increased energy generation now grants 2 to 6%, previously 8 to 7. Existing items can be re-rolled using a divine orb. Soul Core of Azkepec has 5% increased quantity of gold dropped by slain enemies. And it was 10% before of a rarity item found. Corruption modifiers are rules that provides +5 -10 of specific attributes now have values of 4 +4 to 6. Corrupted modifiers of helmets and rings that provides 1 to 2% of life regen. I can no longer roll. It has been replaced with a new corrupted modifier that provides 1 to 2% in life regen. So you're getting the same thing, just in a different way. Okay. Scepters can now only roll up to +4 to level of all minion skills. Previously, it was +5. Existing items are unaffected. That's weird. I wonder why they changed that. It was +5 and they reduced it to +4. Scepters can only roll up to 80% increased presence of AoE. Okay, so they buffed this. Divine Orb can be used on existing items to obtain these new values. That's fine. Amulet modifiers that provide 5 to 6%, 7 to 8%, or 9 to 10% increased maximum mana now have values of 3 to 4, 5 to 6, and 7 to 8% respectively. So that got nerfed. They're wow, it's crazy how much they're nerfing and buffing with certain things, and we as players have to get used to it and figure out new ways to either get more health, life regen, mana to defeat enemies faster, basically, and bosses. Belts, gloves, and boots can now only roll up to +105 to 124 maximum mana. Helmets can now only roll to +125 to 149 for maximum mana. Wands that their staves can now only roll to +150 to 164 maximum mana. Okay. And then rings can only roll to 165 to 179 maximum mana. Debuffs you inflict have 20 to 30% increased magnitude of slows. Corrupted modifiers on gloves can no longer roll. Wow. First two tiers of added elemental damage modifiers on weapons have had their values lowered. And light damage modifiers on weapons have had their values are slightly lowered. So they're making lightning less of I guess OP thing or as good. I don't know. Lightning is just not going to be as good. Monster changes. I don't even think I want to go into this, to be honest. UI. Microtransactions, don't care about that per se. And there's bug fixes. I've already talked a long time on this already. Something that missed the boat that won't be in this patch, but in a future patch. Let's see. Forward charge support now only increases the magnitude of shot from hits. Ingenuity unique belt no longer has 48% increased bonuses gained. That's old. But then they add a new ingenuity though. Yeah, they did. Has 4%, 8% increased bonuses gained from equipped rings. Instead, it now has 20, 30% increased bonuses gained from equipped left ring. And 23% increased bonuses gained from equipped right wing. Okay. And then +1 to 2 charm slots. All right. This is a lot. And I've already talked about an hour and 15 minutes or so on this. This is just, my brain feels like mesh right now because reading through all this stuff and all these changes, which some I understand and some I don't yet, until like I actually check out the game and see for myself like how these changes actually work. A lot of nerfs though. A lot of nerfs. Warrior got buffed like crazy. Nothing about armor though. I thought they were buffing armor though. We'll have to wait and see. Test some stuff out in the coming weeks or so. But man, a little bit of blood mage or like bleed bills if you want to do that. It seems like you got a little bit buff there. But so many nerfs sliding into other things and items too. I'm concerned, but hopefully it'll be all right. Hopefully it still feels fun and we can still make some strong builds that'll just clear maps. We'll have to wait and see, honestly. I don't know. There's also new Huntress gameplay I want to check out. Where is it? All right, Ziggy D Gaming has a part 2 to his Huntress and Spear skills video, which covers, I think, the rest of the skills. This is the first video I reacted to and talked about was like 1 through 5. This is the rest. Let's check it out. It's about 27 minutes long, and we'll see how it is. Because Huntress already looks freaking amazing, crazy as is, in a fun way. In a fun way.
G'day folks, ZD here. Welcome back to part 2 of my hands-on look at the Huntress and Spear skills. If you missed part 1, it's linked in the description, so check it out first. Let's talk about the Amazon Ascendancy before we jump back into the skills. Let's take a look at some of the features here that I had a chance to have hands-on with this particular class.
Amazon
I took the Elemental Infusion node in Act 2 and the Critical Strikes one in Act 3, both of which are going to be very popular choices, I think, and I'll share my experiences with them both. So the Elemental Infusion grants you the skill Infuse Weapon, which causes you to gain 2 stacks of an infusion whenever you consume charges. Power charges give cold infusions, endurance, fire infusions, and frenzy lightning infusions. Whenever you make a projectile attack, an infusion stack is used to add an extra moderately sized explosion when the projectile lands at its final destination. For my throw and spear skills, this was pretty consistently where they stuck into the ground. You'll want to keep this particular aspect in mind, that infusion's explosion isn't on a hit. If you pierce and so on, it's going to be where the projectile ends up. So if you're using it with a bow or something, then you might find yourself shooting into walls if you have full piercing. So you'll need to consider whether it's a good choice for your skills or not. They deal attack damage scaling off your weapon with some pretty good base damage numbers. Previews showing over 600% at level 20. And since it's a character skill, it just levels and gains sockets with your character level, which is always super convenient for something like this, especially for League starting. I was using a mixture of parry and disengage, Sniper's Mark for single target, and Combat Frenzy to produce frenzy charges, and I was consuming them with Explosive Spear and Stormlance primarily. That ended up being the build that I settled into. Towards the end of my run, this kept a pretty steady stream of lightning infusions coming my way. It felt quite good, but earlier on in the run when I first got Infused Weapon, I didn't link any sports to it, and I wasn't really generating that many charges so frequently, so at the time, I kind of thought it was unimpactful and bad. It was just like a small extra pop on an already very explosive and flashy spear skill that I was using, so it was kind of hard to actually notice it doing anything. But later on I started using sports with it, and that obviously made a big difference. And the more frequent frenzy charges did mean that I had an almost constant supply of infusion, and then I started to notice it was doing a lot more. You can get a clearer look at what it looks like here in this testing that I'm doing with the basic spear throw skill. It's pretty solid at level 50-ish around here, with just like 3 somewhat random supports that I chucked onto it. It's a little bit bass guitar-ish, I think. It's going to be kind of happening in the background behind all of your other skill effects, but it's going to be that sort of thing that you probably only notice if you uninspect the node and stopped using it. So because you get 2 infusions per frenzy charge, and because they stack, you can feasibly get infusions pretty constantly during gameplay. This means the node infused avatar behind it is something you can take or leave depending on how your setup consumes and generates infusion to try and get yourself full uptime, which is probably going to be the goal for most builds. Possibly not every build will actually need this second notable, which is great. I feel like a lot of the time these are either mandatory or terrible, but this actually feels like it might be optional here depending on your setup. In the end, I was using the bullseye support for extra accuracy since it's an attack, so that works, and that was converted to a decent amount of crit chance with the Critical Strike Ascendancy we'll talk about in a moment. That was giving me around 50% chance with no real crit scaling at this level, and this also worked well with like long shot support to lower the accuracy penalty at longer ranges and give more damage to the infusion explosions. I was also using Innovate here for a chance to give me the global lightning damage while clearing, which was up pretty often in dense areas, thanks to using exclusively frenzy charges and therefore lightning infusions. But these were basically just supports that I had lying around that weren't like good enough for my main skills. I had better supports thoughts on those already, and those were full up. So they just kind of ended up here. But even just with those random eclectic collection, that worked quite well. But there are likely way better options that you can explore. Overall, I really like Infusion, and it'll be a solid clear speed boost and potentially even single target enhancement if you're getting Frenzy or pre-stacking the infusions before bosses. Yeah. So the Critical Strike Notable is certainly standing out to people as a core Amazon passive, and I'm here to say, yep, I think it's going to be a fundamental part of why you picked the Ascendancy. Thanks for attending my TED Talk. Normally accuracy caps out at 100%, and anything over that doesn't just do anything, so it's kind of wasted. This Notable, however, converts any accuracy over that 100% to Critical Strike chance. It's worded like it's base crit. The devs suggested it's base crit, and to me, it looks like base crit. It quacks like a duck. When I took the node, I went from about 6% on my skills to 16 to 32% extra crit chance from that hit chance. It's got its own special line there. Now remember that accuracy scales with the distance between you and the target, and you can actually see that now with the below 2 meters, which is the max, I believe. It's estimated at 132% hit chance, and then beyond that, at 9 meters, it's 116%. So you can see exactly where that range comes from, that 16 to 32 figure. Interestingly, it seems to be separate lines to the base crit chance. I thought it would just kind of be added on top. So it looks like the 6% base is probably still there doing its own thing, and then this is like added on afterwards, after it's calculated on hitting the monster.
Yeah, I guess that's how it works.
Kind of makes sense because it needs to take into account the monster's evasion and distance from you. I kind of figured with how much crit you're getting here and the fact that it's a separate line that it would be unscalable, but looking at my crit chance later on the infusion screen, you can see the range of my crit chance is 42 to 56%, which is much higher than the 130 to 140% accuracy that I have. So there's obviously some kind of scaling going on there. That's what it's suggesting, at least. Don't take it as full confirmation, just hypothetical, but the evidence looks to be there. We'll need some more testing and dev comments just to know for sure how all of this crit stuff scales together. But either way, I think this is insanely good. Giving you accuracy as an axis for scaling, crit is big for gearing and passives. All of a sudden, those wasted extra accuracy rings and things like that are actually doing something. There's a lot of places to get that as well, and there's a lot of good nodes that you might have not really looked at before because you didn't need any more accuracy, but now they're like really good crit nodes. And that lets you free up a lot of space to invest in crit damage, of course, as well. And since nodes like Falcon Dive exists, you can scale attack speed at the same time too. And there's potentially room for dex stacking since that gives accuracy, especially if something like Candid Wisdom Action is still any good. And don't forget about Falcon Technique too, which scales dexterity, so they're kind of scaling the same thing at the same time there. And overall, this was actually impactful right from the get-go when I took it as a leveling node. Usually crit chance is something that's harder to get enough of while leveling for it to be impactful, but you get such a substantial amount here that I actually felt it while leveling, which is my like benchmark for a good, fun, notable. I want to feel it while leveling when I take it, and that is definitely the case here in the campaign. I won't comment on the rest of the Ascendancy because I didn't explicitly test them, but these are the ones I had hands on, and both infusion and accuracy crit are looking really solid to me.
Over-the-shoulder trick shots are hard. Saving money on car insurance shouldn't be.
Yeah, so that Critical Strike Ascendancy passive, definitely taking that. Amazon, definitely be my first one more than likely with the Huntress class. Primal Strikes, what is... Oh, okay.
Next up, Blood Hunt is a pretty wicked melee attack that lunges you at a target. It interacts with the blood loss mechanic I covered in the last video for Herald of Blood. So if the target has suffered blood loss, it's consumed, and 25% of that total bleed damage is dealt as a non-scalable physical damage explosion. The area of effect of the explosion also scales up to 100% larger, depending on the amount of blood loss that they've suffered. This is a pretty great payoff skill, I think, here, and kind of a big deal for bleed builds to have something like this. It's a way to effectively trigger the bleed again for an instant damage spike, and the fact that they've built it around this blood loss mechanic instead of like triggering an existing bleed to speed it up or something, which is usually how these sorts of things are done, this is, I think, way better. It's the sum total of bleeds that you've done to the target up to that point that as this like separate blood loss mechanic is so good. It'll be a great skill to have on your bleed build when like an enemy or pack needs to die like right now. I need to get rid of them because you can pop it and not have to wait for that dot, which is obviously
very
often a
effective.
weakness chance of damage over time builds.
Definitely very
They could be in
effective.
danger while they wait for something to die. You can speed things along. And of course, it's obviously really important for helping single target in bleed setups too. I did start a bleed focused second run, but I didn't have enough time to get to a high level on that. I only got a brief look at it. I didn't get to test it in a real scenario, but it looks very good. The mechanics, the numbers, everything about it looks very appealing to me. And I think it's just exactly the sort of thing that bleed builds want. It's almost a way to trigger Herald of Blood style effect earlier without needing to kill them, and it also works on bosses, which Herald of Blood obviously doesn't really. So as this is a payoff for bleed and doesn't need to actually cause bleeds itself, you can use the Bloodlust support to scale its damage nicely. The new Blood in the Eyes support as well should be pretty interesting option here on Amazons, because Hobble as a mechanic lowers evasion, effectively allowing you to scale your crit chance further. If the enemy's evasion is lower, your effective hit chance is higher, and thus your crit is higher with that node. So that'd be pretty nice for boosting your damage for your next bleed and then the next blood hunt after it. And don't forget the new Rip and Tear supports as well, which seem like a good pairing with this, if you're using it primarily for clearing at least. Give you some big life
They got Rip.
blood hunt after it. And don't forget the
Rip and Tear support gems. That makes me think of Doom, like the video game Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. So remnants created by support skills last for 8 seconds. Support skills create a blood remnant when dealing a killing blow to a bleeding enemy. Remnants created display increase life regen by 10% for 5 seconds when collected, up to a maximum of 100%. Okay. And remnants are created within a 1.5 meter radius of the slain enemy. Got it. And then Tear is a 50% chance for on-kill effects caused by killing blows on bleeding enemies with support skills to occur twice. Wow, both of these are powerful.
The new Rip and Tear supports as well, which seem like a good pairing with this, if you're using it primarily for clearing at least. Give you some big life recovery scaling. Now, just a quick note that Glacial Lance wasn't working in the build that I played. It's an Ice Throne Spear skill, but it's got the wrong icon and it wasn't really playable, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. I can't give you any look at that one. The only other ice skill is Fangs of Frost, and having that freeze is really useful for combat frenzies, for generating frenzy charges, so having a ranged option to do that could be really good, but we'll have to wait and see what the skill does. I know nothing about it. Sniper's Mark obviously isn't a new skill, but it's the other option on gem level 7 skills here, and it's quite relevant as a way to generate frenzy charges on bosses on demand without needing to parry. So that's pretty helpful for your damage output. You drop a mark on them, causing the next crit you deal to get some extra decent bonus damage to critical hit damage, which is either good or not that important depending on the skill you're doing. If you just hit them with a small hit and consume that, you're not really going to get much damage in the end. But more importantly really is the fact that the mark is consumed when you crit the target to give you a frenzy charge, so that you can do your empowered spear throw and generate infusions and all of that good stuff. The Perfusion support gives you a chance at an extra charge too, so it's obviously a good pairing here. And Sniper's Mark, like all marks, is pretty mana hungry, so you will have to restrain yourself from spamming it too much, which is really what this skill wants you to do. I used Inspiration to help a little bit, lower those mana costs. With the Frenetic passive from the skill tree and the Perfusion support, I was able to get pretty consistent frenzy charges in boss fights with this, with just recasting Sniper's Mark every so often between volleys of thrown spears. It's not really something you have to do, but it is a pretty nice boost to your damage to weave in there.
Right.
On to gem level 9. The first skill we're taking a look at here is Thunderous Leap, a very satisfying movement skill akin to Leap Slam. It doesn't seem to be quite as fast as Leap Slam, and I couldn't really animation cancel the landing like you can with it to speed it up, but still overall combined with dodge roll and disengage, this skill gives you a ton of mobility, and of course, the most important feature, the ability to jump over gaps and ledges. Apart from lightning conversion, this skill does one other important thing. It's a detonator. So you can use it to jump on your Storm Lancers, Explosive Spears, and the Rapid Assault Stuck Spears to explode them. And that is super satisfying. Because it's a slam too, you can use Fist of War for 20% more damage in AoE, which makes it even more satisfying to leap in and blow up a bunch of spears. Really, it's just such a nice thing that they threw into this archetype to be able to, you know, you've thrown those ranged spears, they're just sitting there, instead of waiting for them to explode, you jump in and do melee damage, and that explodes them, and that feels very epic. I think every spear build will use this, either for mobility, for blowing up thrown spears, even bleed builds as a way to detonate those stuck spearheads, and there's just so much utility for has skills like this too, like Shocking Leap for shocked ground, Jagged Ground to slow enemies, or Holy Descent for consecrated ground to heal you. I personally will never not use this skill on a spear build. So Bloodhound's Mark is a new mark skill for, you guessed it, bleed builds. Pretty obvious. This one's pretty different. It causes the marked target to gain heavy stun build-up from blood loss. I don't think we've ever seen a damage over time contributes to stun build-up effect like this before, and that's pretty cool for bossing or for dealing with nasty
damage over
the
time
second part of the skill is
to
that when the
stun
marked
build-up?
target dies or gets heavy stunned, there's a bleed explosion, much like Herald of Blood or Blood Hunt, with a little bit of a twist. The explosion deals its own base physical damage as an attack in an area, and it doesn't scale with your weapon. It gains up to 100% more area and damage based on specifically how much heavy stun has been caused by blood loss specifically. So the more you're focused on bleeds, the chunkier it's going to be. Fortunately, Bloodhound's Mark doesn't compete with Blood Hunt and Herald of Blood though, in that it doesn't consume the blood loss. That's really key here. Only the mark itself is consumed, and the damage from Bloodhound's Mark is its own independent thing. That means it can stack with those other effects. The explosion seems like, to me, a bit of a bonus aspect of it. You can scale it with supports and things like that, but I think the real allure of this gem is enabling stun on a build that's primarily focused on damage over time, something that you wouldn't normally get. And getting a heavy stun is, of course, how you can make use of the rupture support to aggravate bleeds, which is essential for bleed DPS. After all, a heavy stun target is sitting still and not moving around, so they're not taking that bonus damage, so you'd kind of be like doing yourself a disservice there, but thankfully that support exists. I think Rupture would be amazing on Bloodhound Marks itself, since it will hit the heavy stunned enemy with the explosion, so it should work. We'd need to make it just double sure with a bit of testing, but that seems like it would work. The final new level 9 gem here is Tame Beast. A pretty significant one for a lot of different builds potentially here. This technically isn't a spear skill, it's just kind of themed to the Huntress, but anyone can use it. It has some awesome utility potential, as it lets you choose a rare beast type monster and basically put it in a Pokeball. The gem you cut itself is actually Tame Beast, which gives you a skill to hinder a beast. Then if you kill that hindered beast, the gem is converted into a companion gem with that beast permanently locked inside it. These stored beasts can be stashed and swapped around whenever you want, but there is one unique restriction here. They cannot be traded to other players, and that's a massive relief, because otherwise the economically correct decision would be to always have like a bunch of Tame Beast gems in your inventory to catch any valuable beasts you run across to sell, and that'd be fun for a minute, but it'd very quickly get old. Anyway, the now tamed beast is a spirit skill with a percentage spirit cost based on some kind of math about how significant that specific beast is. Presumably bigger, stronger beasts take more spirit and little grubs take less, but I don't really know how things like auras are factored in. What exactly scales that number? Something people will figure out over time. Activating the beast summons it, and the great news here is that if it dies, it revives automatically after a few seconds. I'm so glad we're over the like resummoning golems meta, and we just have these things just auto summon now. One of my favorite changes about minions and companions and things in PoE2. You can see the beast's type and the modifiers on the gem itself, and any core skills and bonus rare modifier effects are all able to be used to your benefit from the beast. I was testing this pretty early on this build, so they were actively working to get the, I don't know, like hundreds or thousands of monster skills and effects to just work for the player and not like accidentally kill them or do other random stuff. So not everything I tested during this hands-on worked. Like I got a monster that had energy shield aura and it wasn't working, but energy shield auras will work. The first beast I got was this cute roly-poly. And since the aura wasn't working yet, I gave it some pats and I sent it on its way after a little while. And I found a walking fish with shocked ground skill that did work. This was really cool for wind skills because it was an easy activator for that bonus added lightning damage, and it had a fair amount of uptime. And since you can support these companions, you can put things like increased area of effect or the ingenuity support to scale uptime of skills like this, and you know, look at their coverage and all that. I used this little fishy bro for quite a long time, and I was pretty happy with him tagging along to shock enemies, just doing his job. Much later on, I tested a beast that had a healing pulse, and I was really impressed with how much healing it did. It was like a really powerful flask effect, and it happened pretty often. That pulse also suppresses enemy healing too, so it'll deal with any
That's
like
cool.
regions
So
and
yeah,
annoying
get
stuff
an
like
enemy
that.
that can
And
heal
of
you.
course, you can reduce the cooldown and things like that on it too. So as this is a companion, which is a new type of minion effectively, you're limited to just one companion, so one tamed beast. And you will also have to choose between this or the rower, as that's also a companion, the rower mount. Unless
That's true.
you pick up the new trusted kinship keystone that lets you have one of each. I didn't get to test the rower sadly, as it was a bit higher level in a spirit gem, so I couldn't just get my hands on one. It could be a little bit tricky for a while there.
So
That
most you can have two
keystone
companions
does
with
come with a
that,
defensive downside, but that's probably because
particular
of
item.
things like the new loyalty companion support skill that shifts 10% of the damage you take to your companion, so that's really nice as well, along with just like the utility of companions, I suppose. So I don't know how worth it that keystone will be. 30% loss of evasion is not great, but we'll see what sort of utility these two things bring, and if you just can't live without a rower and a tamed beast, then you may well want to pick that one up. Tamed Beast overall is frankly nuts. I can't believe the work GGG has made for themselves with this and Spectres to just test and tune every single monster ability and rare modifier and all that. There's just like a limitless amount of options for beast companions and rare modifiers here. And I've only really been thinking about things like utility, like auras and ground effects and healing pulses. I'm not sure if there's also going to be some decent damage potential with these things too, or other status effects
should
that
be
can
decent
be
damage
done by
potential for
certain
sure. Yeah.
specific creatures that do something that does something we don't ever even thought about up to this point. It's going to be a fun experience of looking at all of the beasts you encounter and just being like, I wonder if that's going to be something I should get.
You've got a long to-do list. Thankfully, you have DoorDash, and top-rated shoppers will deliver groceries.
There's also plenty of support on the tree to scale them, and a damage cluster down
Oh, nice.
in the Huntress area
Okay.
even lets you scale both your companion damage and yours with the same nodes, reminiscent of the minion
Good.
damage notable from PoE 1. And to be honest, this looks good even without a companion for like those those builds that have damage types that are a little bit harder to scale, like bleed and poison. On the topic of spirit skills, Caltrops is a spirit skill that drops 3 Caltrops whenever you dodge roll. They deal a little bit of physical damage and maim on hit. I was a bit disappointed though to find out that they don't work with disengage. I know disengage isn't dodge roll, but it kind of works in much the same way, and I half hoped that it would. Disengaged Caltrops would have been really fun, and maybe want to use this a bit more. It's a pretty low impact skill, to be honest. Maim is just easy to get
to me have never
elsewhere.
been super
Even just
good
like the
in video
maiming
games,
strike
depending on the
notable
game,
in
though.
Huntress area is like right there on the main path, and it's kind of good for damage anyway. It does have some cute details, like the damage scales with thorn scaling, and since they're a projectile, I guess you could use scatter shot, which I didn't think to test at the time. And if you're scaling
Good point.
hazards for a spearfield build, then there's some synergy there, but overall I only really see this getting some niche use for the just trade-off of using this instead of another spirit skill. I think there's other better options for most builds, right? I like the idea, but it seems kind of hard to justify, I think, in most builds, unless there's some like nice utility from certain supports or items that I'm missing. I'll probably look like an idiot when it's discovered that there's some super easy giga-busted combination here that everyone ends up using.
I mean, that's a
Prove me wrong.
possibility.
On to level 11 gems. The first of the 2 level 11s we have are Elemental Sundering, which is a build-around elemental attack designed to detonate, freeze, ignite, and shock on enemies or corpses. Just a note, this
wow.
gem was a bit unfinished here, playable, but it was missing effects and such, so we'll only take a brief look at it. The skill does no damage with the initial pulse, but the pulse detonates any statuses in the area, basically. The explosion damage ranges from very high on for
So it sounds like another skill to detonate. Other skills you use to do damage. Okay.
frozen enemies to lower on the shocked and ignited ones, since, those are easier to apply ultimately. Ground effects do work with this as well, so you can detonate them, or more specifically, like a shocked ground, the shock that it applies to an enemy can be detonated. And that shock ground, if it's still there, will just reapply that after a short delay. The real potential for this one seems to be if you have some nice, like, proliferation style effects, or lots of lingering ignites and such on corpses, so that you can get a lot of overlapping explosions to blast down rares and big packs. But it's kind of hard to judge how good this one's going to be. The use case is a bit unusual in that it requires you to apply ailments to many enemies to do much with it. And in most cases, if you're doing that, the enemies are going to be dead. And unless there's a bunch of enemies in that same place and then you can detonate the corpses, you're not really going to need to use it a lot of the time, which was ultimately the case for me while leveling. But I'm not ready to write this skill off, as I think there will be some strong uses for it. It seems like one of those skills that someone's going to figure out how to break the game with. The other level 11 skill is Whirlwind Lance, which is a thrown spear that creates whirlwinds. Same as Whirling Slash. Whirlwinds are kind of their own separate secondary skill effect, and this creates them too. The lance is a simple but somewhat hard-hitting spear throw. If it kills something, it creates a stage 3 whirlwind straight up, normally just stage 1. And it'll also consume a frenzy charge if able to create a stage 3 whirlwind. So you've got 2 ways of doing that there. A big difference between this and whirling slash, besides being a ranged attack, is that you can throw and boost whirlwinds up stages still, but you can also create up to 5 separate whirlwinds in different locations if you position them far enough away from each other. The whirlwinds work a little differently here too. These whirlwinds collapse and explode not when you leave them, since you're not even in them to begin with, but when you actually enter them for the first time. So you can place them and then dash in, maybe for a melee attack or something, to explode them. It's the opposite of whirling slash, which detonates when you leave them. It seems like both barrage and scattershot could work with this, but I didn't get a chance to test this skill too much. I'm guessing it means that if you threw 3 spears or if you barraged, you would be effectively always creating stage 3 whirlwinds, which could be good. Overall, it's kind of a tough skill to judge. It seems like it has pretty good potential, and you can of course use it as a combo piece to create whirlwinds to empower your twisters at range, which might be the primary use case maybe. Level 12 skills are typically the big cooldown or payoff finisher style skills, and that's certainly the case here. The first is Wind Serpent's Fury. It's the only melee spear attack I believe that uses frenzy charges. The rest are all ranged attacks.
That looks so cool.
It thrusts your spear forwards and consumes all frenzy charges to create a twisting wind serpent per frenzy charge consumed. The thrust itself is a slow but pretty heavy hitting attack with built-in knockback, and each serpent also hits and knocks back enemies as well, with increased distance against unique enemies, which is kind of necessary as often
helps with stun damage.
Not very pushable. The skill is designed to push things that you can't normally push. If you do manage to push a smaller enemy into a bigger one, or any enemy into a wall, then the skill also creates a shockwave that deals extra damage in an area. And I imagine scaling, knockback range, and things like that are probably going to be where this skill starts to really shine, especially in tight maps where you can get a lot of enemies to kind of just smash into each other and then smash into a wall for a whole bunch of shockwaves. Probably going to be very satisfying. It's really hard to see the potential here from just the footage of me testing it briefly, but I think in, you know, the right build, that especially something that's able to generate frenzy charges consistently, we're going to see, like, I don't know, builds one-shotting bosses with this by just bullying them into a wall. Since it has no cooldown, you can probably use it really often as well. So as long as you can just keep those frenzy charges going, you can keep blasting snakes all over the map. It's likely very much a build-around skill, and probably a pretty good one, I suspect. Spear Solaris is the final skill, and it certainly stands out. Quite delightfully over the top indeed. Spear Solaris is a 30-second cooldown, sustained AoE projectile skill. You throw a spear into the air while jumping backwards, and after a moment the spear lands for a heavy hit of damage that cannot be evaded.
That's basically like a freaking orbital strike or something.
Orbital beam from the sun fires down and pulses fire damage rapidly for 4 seconds. It also drops expanding Burning Ground with pretty high damage that gets stronger over time until it peaks right before expiring. So you can't add projectiles to do shenanigans with that. And it also doesn't have a duration tag, so you can't kind of extend the duration of the beam. But as it is a cooldown skill, you can indeed use the second wind support to get down 2 of them for the trade-off of a longer cooldown, which I think is kind of a non-issue here, because if your plan is only really to use this at the start of a boss fight or something, then that's a pretty good choice. While it doesn't have a duration tag, the Burning Ground should still be supportable with Despoiler, I suspect. That'll need testing, and it's got some pretty big damage on that Burning Ground, so it could really be worth it to have that stick around for longer. Generally speaking, with big cooldown skills like this, the question is always just whether you want to dedicate the skill slot and the supports that could go elsewhere to something that you can't use constantly. It's hard to say. I didn't feel like it was too worthwhile during leveling, and I had a lot of skills competing for my attention on the Huntress and on the spears in general, but it's got some really big numbers, so I'm sure it'll see some use in endgame. Honestly, its biggest downside is that it's just a bit too epic. You can't really see anything when you use it, especially if you use 2 of them. I have no idea what the boss is doing when it's getting beamed.
Too epic,
so that's the skill overview done. I hope you enjoyed these early looks at the Huntress and spear skills and mechanics. While not all of the skills clicked with me, many of them did, and really importantly, the fundamentals like parry, disengage, thunderous leap, and that whole melee range mix just felt really good to me. The Huntress and spears are a complex playstyle with lots of possible interactions to explore. You could honestly spend a season just messing with builds in this one archetype. I loved the explosive spear and storm lance combination for elemental, and the bleed skills felt really fun in general. I do really hope that bleed comes together, because I know the damage type as a whole had a lot of issues in 0.1, but hopefully here with a fair bit more support, it'll be worthwhile now, because that bleed playstyle is really appealing to me, and I want those skills to be good because they feel and look really good. I think the safest choice is going to be the elemental approach with wind skills or frenzy spear throws. So I don't think you can go wrong with either of those if those look appealing to you. And Amazon overall as a class is really flexible because it's going to work with both elemental and bleed setups just fine. You can, that crit scaling is a really good choice for those. I haven't decided which route I'll go with. Maybe after the patch notes, I'll see if bleed looks like it's going to be good enough as a whole because...
Okay, that's going to be it then from Ziggy. Thank you, Ziggy D, covering this. He had early access to the Huntress class, so this is part 2. Went over the Amazon stuff here and some other epic abilities, like definitely towards the end here. Huntress seems to have some epic OP. Well, hi, Grease Master. Thank you. Also, Daniel, my bad, dude. What's up, dude? How are you? I'm doing good. I'm reacting to this video and talking about it because I'm excited for Path of Exile 2's new content update dropping tomorrow. Welcome in, Raiders. Grease, how's your stream? I think I saw you on some Smite 2. They dropped that nerf hammer. They nerfed a lot of stuff, but they also buffed a lot too. But I don't know. I went over the patch notes. I read over them and talked about them. Most of them. I didn't go over every single one, so I don't know if it's more nerfs than buffs. I don't know. But thank you for the raid, man. Hope you're doing well. Oh my god, why is it not letting me chat in my own chat on through my what's the name? Hold on. Yeah, they probably did. Let me shout you out, dude. Twitch is being weird. Well, more so my OBS. Is there more nerfs and buffs over the new passive gems and uniques might balance it out? That's what I'm thinking too. That's what I'm thinking too. The 100 uniques and her new support gems is gonna counteract that stuff for sure. I think. Thank you though for the raid. Welcome everybody. We're checking out. I'm actually wrapping up. I'm about to wrap up this recorded reaction video to this real quick, and then we're going to talk about Switch 2. Hold on. Let me see. Did he not hear me? I don't know. Why do I have to? Hold on, guys. Freaking OBS is being weird for some reason. I don't know why. It's making it seem like I am not already signed into my Twitch because I have my chat pulled up in OBS, and it's like join Twitch today. It's like why? Why do I need to do that? It's super weird. Anyway, let me get back to my thoughts here. So, Huntress, as we finish up towards the end of this video, the Amazon skill guide as far as the ascendancy, as well as the like level 12 and higher type of skills, not Amazon, but Huntress seems to have some epic OP skills. Like, I was already thinking she was nuts in terms of gameplay and utility like that just from the first video he did. And this, the stuff you get later on where you get like an orbital, like a energy beam, like you essentially drop the sun down on enemies and you can do it to 2. Obviously with a caveat, long cooldown, but still. You can do 2. There's also like that snake move where you can just knock back enemies and do extra damage if you knock them into other enemies or into a wall. This is going to be a lot of fun. Oh man, they're probably going to nerf Huntress in the future too because she's just going to be OP. I already feel like she's going to be OP with her skill set. Just amazing. All right, I don't know what's going on with my Twitch chat on OBS. Let me see something real quick. Okay. Hmm. Hold up, hold up. Mm-mm. is it that no problem, Grease, no problem. Thank you. Trying to check something real quick anyway. Backup settings. No, that's not what I want. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure something out in OBS because something's messed up. Oh, they changed it. Hold on, let me see. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Or is it? There we go. Let me see if I can type into it. Weird. That is not what I wanted to do. It's still being weird for some reason, making it seem like I have to sign up for Twitch. It's so weird. I did do an update though. And maybe the update messed up something. That's my guess. That's super weird. Daniel, you here? Dude, it won't let me just log in. What the heck? I might have to restart OBS or something. I don't know. It's like being really weird. Like it won't let me type in my chat. Okay. Now it's letting me type in my chat. That's super weird. It's super weird. Oh, nice. Where's Black People Calling installed? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I need to find something real quick too. Oh boy. This is a good one. This is a good one. All right. Did you ever hear of classic PS1 game back in the day? Hulk Rock? I heard about it, never played it. Hi, Blood. That's fine. Hope you're doing all right. All right, guys. This has been on my mind since the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Nintendo, we got a problem. We got to talk. Now, the system itself is $450, right? And that's reasonable in my opinion. Like, it's not too far off. Like, I expect it to be between 400 to 500 anyway. But the more precedent or bigger issue is the cost of games that I've been seeing a lot of outrage about. And for what the system does, though, it's fine. Like, I think 450 is a fair price in this modern age, in how things are. I mean, you got the Steam Deck, what, 400? You got a all digital PS5, 400. You have the base PS5 with disc, 500. What, Xbox is kind of similar pricing as well too with their stuff. So I think the majority of people are not upset about the cost of the system. It's other things related to it. So we're going to talk about that. Now, as I said, system here, you get it for $450. Manufacturer's suggested retail price. Actual price may vary. Now, they did this before the tariffs went into effect. This could end up truly being a lot more, because the tariffs are going to cause this to be maybe 30% more, or if not, or in terms of price. So I'm not looking forward to that. And then there's the bundle that's limited time through the fall, where you save $30 on Mario Kart, even though it's $80 digital, 90 physical. Like, what the heck are we doing here? Am I talking quietly? Kinda. I had to, because my dad is in the room and I got to be somewhat quiet. Am I not loud enough? What's going on? My dad's trying to sleep and I'm not trying to be too loud. I'm talking right into my mic though, so I don't know what's going on. Like, do I still sound weird? Do I sound loud enough? I hope I do. Okay, blood. So yeah, here, the two major first party games that's coming out for the system is Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. Both are priced differently. And the funny thing is, on their main website here, their direct website, right? Notice how they had the prices for the system and the bundle, right? But not the games. Not the games. Like, straight up, look at this. This is a red flag. Why don't you have pricing anywhere? You have what's in the game as far as like features and modes and stuff like that, right? No price. That's bad. You got how to buy for the system, but not the games. Like, you go to games, still no price. They're trying to be very, very kind of like, quote unquote, strategic with doing this, I guess. I think kind of sneaky a bit, in my opinion. It's not cool. And then if you go to a different site, this is NintendoLife.com, where it has the actual price of the games and the upgrades, right? Yeah, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition game upgrade pack prices seem revealed. So not only are certain games are going to be $70 and $80 digital, right? And then physical 10 more bucks. You have upgrade packs. So if you already own like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, for example, and you want to upgrade to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, right? Well, based on this, it looks like it's been confirmed. Upgrade pack should cost approximately $10 to $15. Similar to what Sony does and other companies do if there is a PS4 game with an upgrade to PS5 path that isn't free. So, but also noting here, upgrade packs from SMP Jamboree and Kirby FL will probably cost approximately $20. Nintendo may clarify this in a matter of days. I don't know. This is bad. This is bad. Nintendo hasn't provided details about upgrade pack costs locally just yet, but given the prices of the Switch 2 console bundle and games, these standalone digital upgrades could cost a bit more than expected depending on the region. Right. And I get it, they're a business. I get it. They're a business, but this is kind of really scummy. Nintendo, instead of charging more on the system itself and keeping the game price like $60, they're like, no, we're going to give you a fair, reasonable price for the system, even though $450 is still a lot of money. $450 is still a lot of money. And that's before taxes, right? You know, they're like, no, we're going to charge you more on the games. And for those that don't know, gaming companies realistically lose money on their systems, technically, because they have to stay competitive. Well, things have changed. Nintendo doesn't really have any direct competition. You can argue the Steam Deck, but honestly, no. Nintendo's still making stupid amounts of money. They're probably doing the best they've ever done before as a company financially. You got the hardcore fan base that's going to still buy everything they put out, if not mostly everything they put out. So, and then you think other companies aren't paying attention? They're definitely paying attention. Like Sony, Microsoft are paying attention to this and see what Nintendo's trying to do, because Nintendo's trying to like test the waters. They're trying to see what they can get away with. And Sony and Microsoft, you best believe, are going to possibly do the same thing. I already know the prices, Daniel. Now, here's the crazy thing. Back in the 90s, let's take a look at this. Trying to see if I can zoom in to show you guys better. Prices are different in UK, remember? Yes, I know. I've done my research though. Well, I guess it's gonna be the best you can do see right now. So back in the 90s, right, we had a Super Nintendo that was like $130. And then the prices are all over the place for these games, right? You got one for 40, the controller's $15. That's crazy to think about. A controller for $15 that isn't like third party made. Insane at the time. And then you got a game here for 53, 40, 70, 60, 70. Depending on what the game is, or it's like a licensed game or our established franchise or something else. Let's see. And let's look at this here. You got some of these accessories that are costing weird prices. The games themselves, though, are all over the place. Once again, 40, like 47.99, but basically 48. Then you got 43. What? So this isn't the first time Nintendo's done this weird type of pricing. And it seems like they're retreading back to these like crazy prices for their stuff. And when you don't really have much of any direct competition or a need to feel to be competitive, well, this is what happens, right? This is what happens. Sony's kind of similar thing, similar situation. You know, they haven't raised their price for games just yet, but they did release the PS5 Pro last year for 700. I think it was like 700-800 USD, right? And it doesn't really offer that much in better overall like game quality, in my opinion. And there's the whole speculation, rumors of GTA 6 is going to be the first $100 game for the base game, going around, and that's probably going to happen. That's probably going to happen because look what they're doing with this stuff. This is insane. How much are they going to be charging for Switch 2 games in USA? I missed that part. Switch 2 games, not all of them, but some of them, from what we know so far, is either going to be $70 or $80 just for the digital copy. And then the physical is going to be $10 more. So, for example, Mario Kart World for a physical copy is going to be $90 USD before taxes. Donkey Kong Bonanza will be $80 physical before taxes. That's not the only issue, though. And the thing is, I think they're going to leave it up to like developers and publishers of third-party games to decide what they want to price their games at. So here's the other thing. Let me look it up. So here we look at Polygon.com, right? Here's the other crazy thing that they're doing. Now, the Nintendo Switch 2 system itself comes with a base 256 gigabytes of internal storage, right? 8 times more than the original Switch. After its download, you can play the game and by inserting a game key card into your system. They are doing game key cards. Okay. For the Nintendo Switch 2. Game key cards are basically a forced way, in a sense, of like getting a game digitally instead of physical. So it isn't Nintendo's fault, but I can't say what I'm streaming as it's politics. Well, I mean, that's the truth. That's why I mentioned tariffs earlier. Nintendo did this in preparation because of the tariffs. That's one factor, but they're just not saying. There's other factors that are going into this too that are not political, in my opinion. And that's greed, business practices of the recent years that Sony's been doing and Nintendo's been paying attention, and Microsoft and other companies been doing. And Nintendo's like following suit. The fact that, like I said, there's no direct competition for Nintendo really or Sony. Sony's direct competition is putting their games on their platform now. So now there's just talking about in some ways with the game key, this is a new spin on old tricks. Some Nintendo Switch games have been sold at retail, but the packaging simply included a code used to download the game to your account. To be fair, this hasn't been as common on Switch as it has been on competing consoles, but nevertheless, for the people still committed to purchasing physical games, it rifles, it riles. Sorry, this is in fact the same tactic that Microsoft infamously unveiled alongside the Xbox One. Microsoft did this, yeah, on Xbox One. I forgot about that, and that was over a decade ago, guys. This is what messed up the Xbox One for doing as well compared to the PS4. This is one factor. This is over a decade ago, and Xbox tried this. And consumer sentiment has changed. We all game passing and PS Plus in our games, and maybe potentially feel some ownership. We're not all doing this. I mean, Game Pass is a better option, in my opinion, than PS Plus is crap. So, yeah. This is wild. Nintendo confirms some Switch 2 game cards will only include a download key. Let me see here. So, physical cards that only contain a key to download your chosen game. That means there's no actual game data on the card you insert into your Switch 2. So you'll need to download it once the card is inserted. Every game key card case will be appropriately labeled on the lower portion of the front of the box. So if you're concerned about what exactly you're purchasing, you should have a heads up right away. I mean, they had to do that for legal reasons too. They had to be clear about what the heck they're selling. Didn't know much difference. I'm not worried about the difference in price for with UK versus USD, dude. I'm just talking general and talking about where I'm from as far as pricing goes. This is going to affect everyone globally. So part of the concern here is that these are a little more than fancy key holders that will soon replace all standard cartridges, but there are a few reasons to believe this is actually the case for now. And it looks like games like Street Fighter 6, Amber Default Remaster, Mario Kart World, and Donkey Kong Bonanza do indeed feature that game key card disclaimer. Oh wait, sorry. Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong do not. Sorry. It's third-party games. It looks like. Game key card approach will likely be reserved for a few, especially hefty games that might benefit from the key strategy, such as something like Hogwarts Legacy or Final Fantasy VII Remake. Even then, developer CD Projekt Red has already confirmed Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition will ship with a game card that comes in a whopping 64 gigabytes on Switch 2's launch day. The other thing I can think of is their defense on this of why they're doing this, maybe to try and prevent like pirating to a certain degree or something else along those lines. And Nintendo executives are trying to say or promote like they're proud of the new tech that they're talking about, the upgraded red game card support. Said it comes with faster data reading speeds than what it was seen in the original hybrid console from 2017. But this is insane. Like, this is still not okay. And what one of the things that trips me out too is the fact that, let me find it. Hold on. Let me find it. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Trying to get a picture. Trying to find a picture. No, okay, this is probably gonna be the best thing I can do. Nintendo Switch 2's editions of Switch games like Zelda and Kirby cost $80. $80. So Nintendo's telling us, the consumer, gamers, that Zelda Breath of the Wild, a game that was a launch title for Switch 1, came out in 2017 at like $60, right? And then you can get it on sale, usually a used copy, and used copy you get cheaper. A brand new copy you can usually get on sale like Black Friday, maybe a few other times during the year. Not a deep discount, but still. And you're telling me that the Switch 2 version, brand new copy, mind you, digital physical, is $80. Well, physical probably $90. And Tears of the Kingdom was their first $70 game. You're telling me a game that's nearly a decade old, that's getting an upgraded version, is going to be $80? Nah, Nintendo. You done fucked up. No, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Like, no. I don't care what bells and whistles you're adding to the game. That's just no. So, well, thank you for the follow. Romy or F. So ultimately, it's going to come down to people voting with their wallets to send a message to Nintendo and other companies like, hey, we're not going to put up with this. You know, the global economy is not great. The job market is not great. Inflation and tariffs crap is just terrible. Not great. Like, you know, more and more people are having to either live with family or friends now, where even if they do work or not, you got so many people to keep getting laid off and fired. Like, can't afford this stuff. And you expect them to pay $80, $90 for a base version of a game? No. I get it that behind the scenes, the cost of development has gone up over the years, but at the same time, that is partially due to poor management decisions. And there needs to be better decisions from the higher ups instead of them trying to be greedy assholes. So Nintendo, as well as other companies like Sony and Microsoft, stop being greedy. Stop disrespecting your customers by doing stuff like this. I know they'll probably never see this video, or this won't maybe mean much, but hey, if you want to send a message, guys, vote with your wallets. If you want to buy the system, that's your choice. If you want to spend money on the games, that's your choice. It's just the only bad thing about that is you are letting the companies know this is okay to do. So hopefully the backlash continues over the next coming weeks, leading into the launch of the Switch 2. I know some people are going to boycott it, but it's not necessarily, some factors are not necessarily Nintendo's fault. I do get that to some degree, But at the same time, there's stuff they could have done to sort of like better approach this or do this from a business standpoint. The fact that they did not say anything about pricing during the direct was a red flag initially to me after I thought about it and seen it. The fact that on their direct website, as we saw earlier, there's only a price for the system itself and the bundle, but not the games. That's a red flag. That's bad. I'm not getting a Switch 2, at least not anytime soon. And none of the launch title games entice me to get a Switch 2 right away, even if I had the money. Donkey Kong and Mario Kart World? I'm sorry, no. And then you got a bunch of third-party games that are launching day one on it that I personally already own, a lot of those. And those games play better on PC. So, I'm good. But what will you guys do? Let me know. The Mario Kart game is getting its own announce day later this month. They were probably going to talk pricing then. That doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean that they talked about that direct, but that in terms of like what you're of being transparent with your audience, that's a red flag. They were not transparent. And I can understand if you don't say the price of games to a degree on a direct, but you should at least say the price of the system. And then on your on the website, the main website, the direct website to order this stuff off of. And they still don't have pricing and other details that should be there. I get it. Some people are hardcore Nintendo fans. I used to be a hardcore Nintendo fan. But no, I'm not going to defend them. I'm not. Heck, I used to be a hardcore Sony fan. And I still think there are some good things about Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft. They all do some good things, don't get me wrong. They're not all bad, they're not all greedy and whatnot, but they all have this corporate mindset of like, let's make more money off our customers. Let's see what we can do. Let's squeeze our customers and see what we can get away with. If you're fine with paying $80 to $90 per game, that's your choice. I'm not. I'm not. And the fact that they're trying to, Nintendo's in their own way trying to eliminate physical media by doing the whole game key card crap. I'm not cool with that because you got people out there that are trying to preserve physical media as much as possible. Now, me personally, I do buy a lot of my stuff digital. I'll admit, I do. But I mostly game on Steam. I mostly play games on Steam, PC in general, where PC gaming is like more times than not the best, I guess, in a sense. I mean, or at least in terms of game prices, you're getting a lot more games for your money. You get a lot more bang for your buck. You get the Steam sales that happen consistently. You get the 4 big Steam sales every year for autumn, spring, summer, and winter, right? Deep discounts compared to consoles and stuff like that. Oh, I know Nintendo's not the only one. I know. Sony, Xbox. I literally was talking about earlier, Blood. You might have missed it. Because I found an article that talked about how Microsoft were doing the same thing that Nintendo's doing now. And that's what partially messed up Xbox One sales. Xbox tried the same thing that Nintendo's doing right now over a decade ago. They're doing the same thing. It's crazy. And then you also got companies, and it's not just Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, it's developers or publishers. They'll do collector's editions of games, right? and it doesn't come with a physical copy of the game. It comes with a downloadable code or a code to download the digital copy of the game, right? I'm not saying Nintendo's only one doing it, but they are a company that's trying to force digital gaming on people that don't want digital gaming. They want physical copies. So, yeah. Man, this sucks. Man, I've been talking for so long now. We might not even get to Khazan tonight, to be honest. I've actually been having fun talking to y'all. I don't know, like, what do you think? What do you guys think, though? Like, I'm not trying to make it seem like that Nintendo's the only one doing it. There's definitely other companies doing it, for sure. Part of me still wants to get a Switch 2 at some point, but way down the line, like either maybe Black Friday at the earliest this year, maybe. Because for me personally, there's nothing on there right now game wise that makes me want to get it. Nothing. The only game that maybe, and I say maybe because I still got to do a video on this, is From Software's Dust Bloods. That might be the only game that for me is a system seller. That for me is going to make me want to get the system because the Dust Bloods is an exclusive game to the Switch, and it's made by From Software, and From Software is one of my favorite developing companies. But I heard that the Dust Bloods is a multiplayer online focused game, PvPvE, and I am concerned. I don't know. I'm just being fair by mentioning the other companies too. That's fine. That's fine. I like having discussions. I like talking about stuff like this, And I encourage, you, Blood, and everybody else to talk about this with me because you guys can bring in different perspectives, right? I'm not asking that we all got to agree on everything because that's just not reality. It's okay to agree to disagree on some things and still be friends, still be cool, and have a civilized conversation, No longer excited for Dust Bloods? Yeah. It's PvEVP? Yeah. F that. I hate PvP games, and that's fair. And you were totally in your right to feel that way. I'm iffy about Night Rain. Elden Ring Night Rain is a co-op focused game, but Elden Ring Night Rain has elements of like a roguelike and a battle royale mixed in. But you're only fighting like enemy AI or NPCs, right? You're not fighting other players. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I need more information on the Dust Bloods. I need to see more gameplay in the future before I make up my mind. New game prices were going up years ago between the technology advancements and everything else. While I hate that and wish it wasn't so bad, I kind of understand it too. New charges don't help either. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I understand that too because yeah, technology that's a default result of technology advancements. Stuff's going to cost more. The more we make newtology, wow, what the heck am I talking about? The way we like make new technology or advanced technology and make stuff to be better for us in the long run in certain aspects. Yeah, I get it. At the same time, though, in my opinion, and I'm not a big graphics guy, right? I go for gameplay over graphics for any game. I think in terms of like graphic fidelity, we hit our peak already. And we hit our peak back on the PS4. Because we're essentially just playing like upscaled, up-res PS4 games at this point. That's all. And personally, I'm happy with 1080p 60, 1080p 120. I don't need 4K. I think these companies need to reevaluate their strategy and stuff like that when it comes to graphics and spend so much money on trying to give these better graphics that are costing X amount of dollars. And to me, it's a waste of money. When the game might be having superb graphics, but it comes out in an unbalanced, unpolished state. So, if there's a strictly PvE mode, I'll be excited for Dustbloods. I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Do not know. It's crazy. Oh, I had this image too. I forgot to pull up. Whoops. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried about this industry because I love the video game industry. I want it to still thrive or not, but it's getting to a point that I think the industry or certain aspects or certain companies' industry are going to cause it, or the companies themselves are going to just implode. Like we're going to reach a point of this big balloon that it's just going to pop. And it's going to collapse on itself. We're getting there. We're getting there. I feel like. I know it's stupid. There are great PvP games, but I don't like them, nor do I like being competitive. I don't want to be one of those salty ragers. It's not stupid because we are all entitled to like and dislike anything, whether it's movies, video games, anything. You know, people like you that are not PvP gamers is fine. That's totally fine. There are plenty of people out there that are PvP gamers. Blood, I've literally had people I've talked to in the past that if I let them know I'm a content creator or whatever heck, and if they're a gamer too or nerd, they've literally, there's been not too many, but a few people have literally told me or expressed their opinion of like, I don't understand why someone will watch someone play a single player game. Because their mindset is like, I love playing multiplayer games. I love playing PvP. I love playing co-op stuff. And so they think watching someone who plays those type of games is more entertaining than playing a single player game, right? There are people out there like that. It boggles my mind to a degree, but I still respect their opinion and feelings on that. It's like, okay, do you? And if you feel like watching me is boring because I mostly play single player games, then don't watch. You was just playing 2 Point Museum after some Hollow Knight. So lots of interest. I just wish I could get into some of the more fun-looking PvP games. Marvel Rivals looks fun, and I kind of like the look of Splatoon, honestly. But I get super salty when playing. Yeah. I mean, and that's just reality. Some people are just not meant to play multiplayer games, like mainly PvP, because if you're a type of person that like, you know, and you're aware that if you are a, let's be real, for lack of a better word or whatever, if you are a bad or poor loser, right, and you can't handle taking a loss, well, and you get mad, angry, stressed, about it. Maybe to some people take it too serious. Then yeah, I understand because there are people like that. And if you feel like the best way for you to avoid being that way, or letting that rage get to you, is just not play the PvP games, I get it. I understand. Heck, that's part of why I stopped playing COD. Technically, I used to play Call of Duty so much. Was part of a clan, did clan wars, anything like that. Played it for years, right? Got super into it. I had a great KD overall. But over time, I got tired of COD for different reasons. It kept feeling like the same game a lot of times. I also didn't like who I was to a certain degree when I played those games. Like, I didn't like what those games were doing to me. Because similar to you, they would make me rage, get angry, and stressed out when I didn't need to be. Because it's just a video game. And I admit there were times I took it too serious. And I shouldn't have. So, I get it. And when it does come to PvP, the main PvP game or style of game I like that doesn't make me rage really at all and never really has is fighting games for some reason. I think that's because I grew up on fighting games. So like I was already used to fighting games, like playing against my friends back when I was a kid, my brothers. Over the years, played at the arcade and just had fun. Like I never really truly cared like that much to be super competitive at fighting games. And so I think for me, yeah, doing PvP in fighting games is fine, but odd, no. Marvel Rivals, I enjoy from time to time, and I will only play that game with friends usually. And but I have the maturity, I have the wisdom to understand and not take that game serious, and not get stressed out about it like that, like I used to with COD. I had the mindset of like I'm gonna go into this and play it very casually. I love COD zombies, but that's it. Fair. I played one COD match against my Will and got 3 kills. Wait, what? I never played fighting games when younger, except for Mortal Kombat once. Mostly we had single player RPGs like Zelda. Nice. Castlevania, Doom, things like that, yeah. Honestly, I am surprised my raging behind started playing Souls games. Yeah. But you don't engage with the PvP aspect of Souls games. You either play solo or you play with friends. So, and I don't blame you for that. Heck, I don't engage in PvP in Souls games. I don't like to. I'm not a PvP person when it comes to Souls games. Which is also why I'm probably not going to get a Switch 2 system even for Dustbloods, because with that being PvPvE, I'm just like, I don't really care about PvP. I don't. I enjoy playing single player games and I enjoy playing co-op games. Well, fair, I was mostly talking about me being a salty. Yeah. I know you're talking about you and whatnot, and I just want to, share my own personal experience too of being somewhat on that level at one point as well. And at least on some level, understanding where you're coming from. Because, yeah, there are people out there that just can't handle taking a loss in a video game and get salty, get ragey, get bitchy, whatever. So, and me, I don't play certain PvP games to avoid the stress and drama and just whatever about it. Like, I just don't. I don't do COD. And I really don't do a lot of shooters in general in terms of like multiplayer stuff. I just don't. I prefer co-op games that are like either party type party type co-op games or whatever, or multiplayer party type games like Mario Party, Pummel Party. You got Lethal Company, you got Repo. I haven't played Repo yet, but I mean, it's in that same type of style, right? And then Headliners as well, similar thing. Stuff like that. Goofy comedy type of games that are multiplayer focused, you know. Um, and then of course like co-op games like co-op RPGs like F14, Warframe, Path of Exile 2, you know, Monster Hunter Wilds. My friend loves sitting with me in Discord and watching me play turn-based games. We discovered how good I was when I faced Morgan Freeman in Fractured Butthole and didn't struggle. Nice. Was someone get you repo recently? Nice. Just sitting and chilling is gifted to you. Heck yeah. I got gifted repo as well by a friend in the community. Just haven't played it yet. With my stream schedule, the way it's being, like my stream schedule for anyone who doesn't know, I'm basically doing 3 to 4 days a week now. Mainly streaming Tuesday through Thursday evenings, starting at 8 p.m. or at least starting between 8 and 9 p.m. going to like midnight usually. But I'm probably only gonna go for like another 8 minutes because I've been mostly just been talking, and I don't feel like playing just an hour of Khazan. So I do apologize. I know I had Khazan in the title, but we're just probably not gonna get to it tonight. I've just been enjoying talking because one, I wanted to go over the patch notes for PoE2, and I knew they'd be long. And then there was that other video I wanted to check out from Ziggy, and then we had the Switch 2 to talk about because of all the backlash. The job is good so far. So I'm getting more hours and working 3 to 4 days a week. I work tomorrow actually. Tomorrow should be maybe like a 6 hour shift, unless it gets really busy and they need me to stay longer, which I hope they don't. Because I work at 1 p.m. tomorrow Eastern, and I'm trying to be off by 7, so I can like get back in time. I got to do the PoE2 update because I can't do it before I leave for work because it doesn't drop till 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So it's like I got to wait till I get home and then update it and then go live. Because segue, thank you, Blood. I am doing a giveaway tomorrow for PoE2. I'm actually going to give away 2 PC game keys for that game as part of playing and celebrating the new content update. So, if you want a chance to win, make sure you stop by tomorrow. Make sure you're already following me on Twitch at least and join the Discord. I'm going to be doing the giveaway through Stream Elements. So, if anybody's confused by that, what that means, basically, with me doing the giveaway through Stream Elements, you'll need to earn channel points or whatever, or points, and use those points to buy a ticket. So, subs get 2 times a chance to win. I made it so that way subs get 2 times a chance to win, but everybody only needs to get 1 ticket. Now, whoever wins can do whatever they want with the key. You can use the key for yourself or give it away. Your own giveaway, I don't care. If I get time, I'll be here to chill. I already have the game right. Should play it. I still don't have a character at max though because I keep not playing it. Well, to be fair, Blood, there's still a lot of issues with the game, and the patch tomorrow is going to fix all those issues and make it more optimized and make the game more fun. So, well, I got tons of points. Hey, Coin, if you want to enter to win a copy of PoE2 if you don't already own it, dude, like I said, like mods can enter. It's fine. You're on the fence. You never played. Coin, do you like Diablo style like RPGs though? Like the ARPGs like Diablo, Titan Quest, or I think it's Titan Quest, something like that. It was fun for me just playing by myself. I liked it. Yeah. I still enjoy Path of Exile 2 overall better than Diablo 4. It's just it still needs a lot of more love, polish, and quality of life and changes like that to make the end game more fun. And we're getting that tomorrow. We're starting to get more of that tomorrow. So it's gonna be good. I can't wait. I also should be playing with some friends. Salt Life, I saw you in here. Salt Life, are you still here? Sorry if I didn't say nothing to you, man. Salt Life, how you doing? You still here? You good, man? Are you still joining me tomorrow? Jawline's supposed to be joining me as well too, and then I might have a fourth. I played Diablo 3 a while back, so I'm not sure if I do. Gotcha. That's fair. Though I have to use controller because I can't dodge to save my life without controller. That is due to my weird hand-eye coordination from being, blind including one eye. I use controller on most things for that reason. I use controller just because I'm used to using controller on most things. I will only use mouse and keyboard if I have to. The game looks like a lot. Yeah, there are a lot of things to like understand about like different mechanics, systems, whatnot. But and there's still stuff I'm learning that I haven't even engaged with. So yeah, but much like other RPGs, like similarly Diablo or like even Warframe for that matter, like once you play it and get more used to it, the more you play it, the more you understand. And there's also videos you can look up. I mean, you can ask me questions as well too. You know, I'll do my best to answer those questions. So your dumb self would probably just Leroy Jenkins every level. Fair. They're also changing up a lot. Oh, like I said, I went over the patch notes earlier. I didn't go over everything in the patch notes. I went over the majority, but they're changing like how items work. They're adding 100 new support gems, 100 new unique items, and they're changing some unique items. They are changing up skills, some classes. It's just a lot. In a good way, though. Is Monster Hunter's update ready yet? No. Waiting for 11 o'clock because it's supposed to be available at 11. But yeah, guys. So if you haven't already, please join the Discord, !Discord. On YouTube side, it should be in the YouTube description for the stream. I will have my two main requirements for the giveaway is that you must be following the Twitch channel at least, and you gotta join the Discord. Reason being, one, I'm trying to grow the community, right? You know, I want to grow the community. I want to, gain more followers when I get more people involved in the community and be more active, right? The other thing is too, if you join a Discord, you can stay up to date with future giveaways I do. Plus, if there's a time difference issue thing, whatnot, if you win a key and there's and you can't like be here when I, do the drawing, I can message you in Discord like, hey, you won. I get it to you like when it's a better time, basically. I'd rather do it that way. I'd rather do it that way than having like whisper you or email you or whatever. You just join a Discord. So yeah. But that's happening tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to start at 8 p.m. But with me, if I get off work at 7 though, I probably won't get home till about close to 7:30. And then I gotta do the update, which I don't know how long that's gonna take. But like I said, the plan is to start between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern and go for 4 hours. So we'll see. I think I'm gonna wrap up here though, guys, and we'll just call it here. Once again, sorry, no Khazan tonight. I will do that another day. I want to do PoE 2 tomorrow. Do a giveaway tomorrow. Oh, Coin, I understand. You're good, dude. I know. Hopefully, I'll be good because Jawline and Salt Life will hopefully be here, and those are two of my mods. But we'll probably be playing a game, PoE 2 together. Blood, if you're here, that'll help out with modding. But yeah, I know it's ball night for you tomorrow, Coin. So I'm hoping I'll at least have like a few mods tomorrow to help out. We'll see. Sunday night, I want to do some Monster Hunter Wilds. A similar thing. Like if I get off work by 6 or 7, then we'll start at like 8. And I might do a giveaway for Monster Hunter Wilds as well too, because Monster Hunter Wilds is getting its big content update as well, and I want to play that. So play that Sunday night. We'll see how it goes. But thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for participating in the conversation and lurking, supporting. Greasemaster, thank you for the raid again. I'm gonna call it here though, and let's see. Hopefully, this update for Monster Hunter Wilds doesn't take too long. I'm wondering what's going on. It should have been active by now because it said 8 p.m. Pacific, but it's not. Oh well, I'll figure it out. You guys have a good night. I'll see you next time.
Get up to rock, get up to burn, stand up with pride that burns for your desire.